Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. People are in Naruto, imitating the Great Swordsman at the start. Chapter 81. Lu Yun-kun, why do you frequently stimulate Sasuke-kun? Orochimaru asked, puzzled. Lu Yun glanced at Orochimaru lightly. Oshimaru, do you know how the eyes of the Uchiha clan evolved? Orochimaru shook his head in a daze. Emotions, the conditions for the evolution of Sharingan require strong emotions, and his hatred for Itachi is not enough. The power of the Uchiha clan is not only that. Don't underestimate his potential. Orochimaru was a little shocked when he heard Lu Yun's evaluation of Sasuke. Lu Yunjin is so optimistic about Sasuke-kun. In fact, Lu Yunjin has something to do to make Sasuke-kun virtual. It's just that he thinks that Sasuke-kun is not suitable to take this path, so that's why he stimulates him so much. Oshimaru came out this time, but I have one more thing. Lu Yun continued to speak to Orochimaru. Orochimaru showed a smile. You may as well just tell Lu Yun-jun if you have anything to do. If I can help, I will do my best to help Lu Yun-jun. It's not too much trouble. I need the coordinates of the location of the Dragon's Hole. Dragon Cave. Orochimaru's face froze. Why did Lu Yunjin ask about the location of Longdi Cave? For fairy art? Impossible. Lu Yunjin already possessed Miaomu Mountain's fairy arts, and he had heard about it from the White Snake Immortal. As long as one person can't carry multiple fairy modes, the fairy mode of Mount Miaomu, the fairy mode of Longdi Cave, and the Wetbone Forest, the effects brought about by their immortal modes are all different. But, although others can't, but Lu Yun is no ordinary person. Maybe others can't, but Lu Yun can try. You must know that Lu Yun's own idea is to try to learn what kind of changes will happen if he learns all the immortal models of the three major inheritance places. Orochimaru informed Lu Yunlong of the location of the cave, and Lu Yun left not long after. Longdi Cave is different from Miaomu Mountain. The creatures there are not so easy to talk to. Even Orochimaru has suffered under the hands of the elder White Snake Immortal. But to Lu Yun, it wasn't a big deal. Those elders were just bullying masters, and he didn't go to Longdi Cave to rebel. The location of Longdi Cave is in a special space like Miaomu Mountain. Ordinary people can't find the three major inheritance places at all. What's more, Longdi is between illusion and reality. Even if you know the location of Longdi Cave, you may get lost in the mist and hover in place forever. But as long as Lu Yun is in immortal mode, he will not be affected. There is nothing wrong with my shadow clone in Konoha. As long as Konoha does not encounter too much disaster, my shadow clone can still face it. Although the shadow avatar cannot stay in the immortal mode permanently like the main body, it can automatically absorb natural energy and enter the immortal mode. After spending a week, Lu Yun finally arrived at the location Orochimaru said. This place. In front of Lu Yun's eyes was a dead end blocked by mountains. However, he clearly sensed what information was hidden behind the mountain. Lu Yun ignored the dead end in front of him and walked straight, and a strange scene happened. It was obviously a big mountain, but Lu Yun pierced through it strangely. Looking at the surrounding fog and cold and damp caves, it gives people a creepy feeling. Sure enough, as I guessed, what I saw earlier was not a big mountain at all. It's just an illusion of the barrier covering Longdi Cave. Is this the Dragon Cave? Lu Yun frowned. The natural energy seems to be a little different from Mt. Miaomu, this dark and humid environment. It is really a place suitable for snakes to live. The fog floating in front of the eyes is not only to confuse people's sight, but also if the concentration of these fog is too high, it will make people fall into illusion and they will never be able to get out of Longdi Cave. It seems to be in this direction. People who can't feel natural energy may get lost in Longdi Cave, but there is no difficulty for Lu Yun who has entered the immortal mode. Through the fog, two slender figures came from a distance. It's been a long time since anyone came to Longdi Cave. Kindness. Wrong. One of them looked like a loli, with long dark blue hair and a delicate appearance. A playful woman looked at Lu Yun in surprise. You. In this normal state, you still maintain the immortal mode. Aikijima Haim, one of the high rises in Ryuji Cave. Even for Haim Aikikishima with such a delicate face, Lu Yun was not moved by it. Don't look at the Aikikijima Haim in front of me as an exquisite beauty, but her real body is a snake, and this exquisite appearance is just his disguise. Lu Yun has always hated snakes, let alone moving a snake carefully. Tien Shin Shenji, who looked like Yujia, smiled lightly and said, Daoji, it seems that he is the one that Lord White Snake said. Aikikishima Haim looked at the young Lu Yun in disbelief. It turned out to be such a young man who came to their Longdi cave. It's tender. Shikujima-ji sighed in his heart. If Immortal White Snake hadn't ordered him, he really wanted to taste what this young man was like. These small arms and legs must taste delicious. Sensing Aikikishima Haim's greedy gaze, Lu Yun's eyes flashed a trace of disgust. Sure enough, no matter how a snake turns into a human, it is still a snake. Take me to see Immortal White Snake, Lu Yun said indifferently with a calm expression. Aikikishima Haim and Tien Shinshin Haim frowned. What an unlikable little devil. Logically speaking, there are 3 elder-level confidants in Longdi Cave, and there are only 2 in front of him. Where is the other one going? That's all. Lu Yun shook his head. Why do I think so much? Even if there is another one, it is just a snake. Even if Tianxin Shenji and Aikikijima Haim turned into human beings, the cold temperament of snakes still cannot be concealed. Aikijima Haim, who was leading the way for Lu Yun, asked, Little ghost, since you have learned the fairy art of Mount Miaomu, what are you doing in my Ryuji cave? Generally speaking, people who entered Longdi cave were either lost in it, or came to learn fairy arts. But Lu Yun in front of him has already learned the magic of immortality. The key is that the little devil in front of him seems to be a little different. The natural energy of their Longdi cave seems to have found a place to live, and it seems to pour into this little ghost's body. Such a huge amount of natural energy, this brat can actually control it and balance. Of course it's to learn fairy arts. Lu Yun replied flatly. What? Hearing Lu Yun's words, Aikikujima-ji and Tien Shinshenji were both stunned. Since you have obtained the inheritance of the fairy art from Mount Miaomu, you still want our Longdi cave. Don't you know that the immortal arts in the land of inheritance are mutually exclusive? Throughout the ages, no human being has possessed 2 kinds of immortal arts from different inheritances. Lu Yun paused. The immortal arts in the land of inheritance are actually mutually exclusive. This made Lu Yun a little unexpected. But, should be no big problem. Led by Aikikijima Haim and Tien Shinshin, Lu Yun came to a temple. Tien Shinshenji said slowly, Master White Snake, you are just behind the door. Then we will not accompany you. After Tien Shinshenji finished speaking, the 2 flew away, and the fog in the cave filled again. Lu Yun didn't care about the departure of the 2 snake spirits. Looking at the towering steps in front of him, he raised his feet and walked slowly towards the top of the temple. In front of the temple gate is a huge stone gate. Kindness. Lu Yun gently pushed the stone door without any response. It turned out that the stone gate was also attached to the celestial chakra, and Lu Yun gathered the celestial chakra in his hands, and the stone gate was easily pushed open. In the huge hall, on a towering high platform, there is a huge stone bed. The huge white phosphorus snake is particularly eye-catching, with a slender pipe dangling from its mouth. Take a deep breath. The white phosphorus snake began to swallow clouds and mist in front of Lu Yun. The white phosphorus snake in front of him is the owner of Longdi Cave, and he is honored as White Snake Immortal. The dark yellow eyes of Ancestor White Snake stared at Lu Yun. Just like what Old Toad said, you actually completed the perfect immortal mode. Immortal White Snake exhaled mist, and the sound reached Lu Yun's ears. It's just a human being, but it can also possess the magic chakra under normal conditions like them. Such a pity. This young man is not the prophesied savior, his fate is too vague to figure out. In the ninja world, such a strange existence was born. Although he was shocked by Lu Yun's fairy chakra in his normal state, the White Snake Immortal is an old monster who has lived for thousands of years after all, so his emotions will naturally not surface. The rules of Longdi Cave: if you want to learn the fairy mode of Longdi Cave, you must pass the trial. But to Lu Yun in front of him, those trials were nothing more than pediatrics. White Snake Immortal, can you pass on the immortal mode of Longdi Cave to me? Lu Yun still maintained a polite attitude. Immortal White Snake looked at Lu Yun. Of course. Only, the immortal mode of the Land of Inheritance is mutually exclusive. You have already learned the immortal mode of MT. Miaomu. I don't mind if you learn our Longdi Cave again. If the 2 immortal modes conflict with each other, causing the natural energy to fail to maintain balance, you will eventually turn into a stone statue due to the erosion of natural energy. Immortal White Snake is a person who loves talents, and he wants to know what Lu Yun's future will be like. He didn't want such a monstrous genius to die so sadly after some accident happened. Thank you for the advice of Immortal White Snake, I still want to give it a try. Immortal White Snake sighed helplessly, and said in a calm voice, all right then. Suddenly, the space in front of Lu Yun's eyes suddenly distorted. This is space-time ninjutsu. When Lu Yun's sight returned to normal, he was no longer in the hall. There was a huge snake statue in front of his eyes. These big snakes turned into statues, like the toadstone statues on MT. Meowmu, were all eroded by natural energy and turned into stone statues. In the center, surrounded by the giant serpent statues, an emerald green scroll shines suspended on the platform. That's the training scroll of our Longdi Cave Immortal Mode. This space was specially created by me. Only by learning the fairy mode of Longdi Cave can I leave this space. Good luck. At this time, the Immortal White Snake had already disguised herself as an elderly grandmother beside Lu Yun, wearing a white gown, and looked kindly. After finishing speaking, its figure gradually disappeared in front of Lu Yun's eyes. Lu Yun wasn't surprised either. After all, even the 3 great snake fairies could transform into human forms, and it was within his expectation that the White Snake Immortal could transform into human forms. It's just that he didn't expect that the White Snake Immortal would turn into an old lady. Forget it, why bother to think so much, let me see what is special about the fairy art in Longdi Cave. At this time, the White Snake Immortal has returned to the main hall, and he has once again become his own body, the White Phosphorus Serpent. He took a sharp puff on his pipe. It takes less than a day to cultivate the fairy mode, is what the old toad said true? If it's true, then this kid is truly terrifying. The 3 great snake princesses also came to the hall at this time. Master White Snake. The 3 snake princesses all knelt down respectfully. Shikujima Haim looked up at Immortal White Snake, hesitated for a while and asked, Master White Snake, has that human been sent to the place of cultivating immortal arts? Kindness. Immortal White Snake gave a soft, N. Master White Snake, does this not conform to the rules of our inheritance? It is almost impossible for a human to practice 2 different immortal modes. Besides, that kid is just a human being. Ikikijima Haim hadn't finished speaking when a huge coercion of celestial chakra suddenly flooded the entire hall. The feeling of suffocation and oppression caused the 3 big snake girls to prostrate on the ground, lowering their heads tremblingly. The icy cold light of the White Snake Immortal stared at Ikikijima Haim. Shimehime, you overstepped. Recognize your position. That kid is someone I recognize. When will it be your turn to tell me what to do? Ikikishima Haim raised her head in horror. Master White Snake, I absolutely did not mean that. I just feel something is wrong. After Ikikijima Haim said this, she regretted it. The next moment, the huge celestial chakra crushed her body, and her whole body fell into the ground, stained with blood all over her body, and she was in a miserable state of bleeding from all 7 orifices. Since you have been loyal in Longdi Cave for so many years, I will teach you a lesson this time. If there is a next time. This snake peeled off your snake skin. Tian Shin Shenji and Tuan Jinji couldn't help shivering when they saw Ikikishima Haim's miserable appearance. Although they also had opinions in their hearts before, but fortunately they didn't say it out, otherwise their fate would probably be the same as Ikikijima Haim. At this time, Lu Yun didn't know what was happening outside, so it really wasn't that easy to control the 2 immortal modes. Although the natural energy in his body had lost its balance, under the influence of Beng Yu, his body was not eroded by the natural energy. After 3 days, lilac eyeshadow finally appeared in the corner of Lu Yun's eyes. Longdi Cave Immortal Mode has finally been completed. Lu Yun, who was sitting on the giant snake statue, slowly opened his eyes. Today's Lu Yun's temperament is more dusty, and the Beng Yu in his body has become more pure and bright. In the cultivation mode of Longdi Cave, besides the recovery power, there is another huge change, that is, the body can twist flexibly like a snake. To put it simply, Lu Yun can take the form of a snake like Orochimaru. In terms of essential power, the increase of the 2 immortal modes is actually similar, and the combination of immortal modes gives Lu Yun the feeling. What it brings is not an improvement in strength, he can clearly feel that his body seems to have changed a little bit. This feeling is like the Great Toad Immortal and the White Snake Immortal. But, Lu Yun looked at the purple eye shadow in the corner of his eyes in the pool, and closed his eyes. Gradually the purple eye shadow slowly dissipated. He made a fist. The increase in strength was not significant. But it feels like this. My fairy chakra has increased several times compared to before. Lu Yun can clearly feel the difference between this different space and the outside after completing the cultivation in the fairy mode of Longdi Cave. Lu Yun's fingertips opened a hole towards the giant snake statue, and a huge suction force sucked Lu Yun into it. At the same time, the sleeping immortal white snake suddenly opened his eyes, and Lu Yun slowly walked out from another different space. You actually succeeded. Immortal white snake looked at Lu Yun in shock, whose aura was more terrifying than before. 2 kinds of fairy modes. This kid actually completed 2 kinds of fairy modes. It's really scary. How could there be so many monsters in this village of Konoha? This kid is much more terrifying than Konoha's first Hokage. He has never seen such a terrifying human being. The huge fairy chakra and the fairy body are almost the same as those of them who have lived for countless years. Kindness. It's also thanks to your help. The immortal white snake shook his head and said with a smile, it's not my credit, it's you who have completed the coexistence of the 2 immortal modes. Do you still want to inherit the immortal art of the Wetbone Forest? Lu Yun nodded undeniably. In fact, Lu Yun wanted to learn all the immortal models of the 3 major inheritance places, because no one knew whether the immortal art inheritance of the 3 major inheritance places had anything to do with it. What would happen if all 3 kinds of immortal art inheritances were gathered in one person? Immortal White Snake was silent. He looked at Lu Yun and said slowly, if you can learn the 3 major immortal art traditions together, maybe you can really achieve the so-called ascension to immortality recorded in the ancient books. Immortal. Lu Yun frowned. It seemed that there was something he didn't know about the inheritance of immortal arts in the 3 major inheritance places. Although I know the plot of Naruto in the original book, but after all, it is the main line of the world that the animation shows. And Lu Yun came to a real Naruto world, which is a real world, even if he knows most of the stories and some secrets in the plot. But the ninja world is so big that there are always things he doesn't know. White Snake Immortal, what do you mean by ascending to immortal? Immortal White Snake said earnestly, it has been recorded in the ancient books of the 3 major inheritance places. If someone can bestow the immortal arts of the 3 holy lands, he can become a true immortal in the legend. The so-called immortal is the evolution at the level of life. It is said that once he ascends to the immortal, the inheritor of the immortal art will undergo tremendous changes. Turn into a fairy. Lu Yun touched his chin. That's kind of interesting. If it is eternal life, for Lu Yun now, his life is eternal. When Bang Yu completes his evolution, he will be in a different dimension. What he is doing now is to make Bang Yu more perfect. Bang Yu has self-awareness. Not only Lu Yun wanted to become stronger, but even Bang Yu himself was not satisfied. When he incorporates the elements of the Naruto world, perhaps Bang Yu will also undergo unexpected changes. Character Template. Aizen Soyusuke. Character Unlock Progress. 11%. Only 11%. It seems that with the evolution of Bang Yu, it will improve faster. And my own eyes. Hehe. To be honest, Lu Yun really didn't expect that Bang Yu could really analyze the blood succession limit of Sharingan, and even though he didn't have the blood of the Uchiha clan, he unexpectedly opened Sharingan. You are the most bewitching genius I have ever seen. To be honest, I didn't think you could perfectly integrate the 2 celestial arts inheritances at first. Now it looks like you did it. Perhaps you can really complete the immortality recorded in the records. The White Snake Immortal is also looking forward to whether the recorded Ascension Immortal really exists. Immortal White Snake is full of expectations for Lu Yun's future. Shengxian. It is indeed exciting. There was a strange light in Lu Yun's eyes. But now the shadow avatar in Konoha Lu Yun has already handled what Hokage's assistant should do. In the past few days, no one has discovered that Lu Yun in front of him is just a shadow clone. Lu Yun, who came out of Hokage's office, suddenly noticed a very unusual aura. A cold, damp, repulsive feeling. Lu Yun's figure disappeared into the street in an instant, and Kakashi, who followed secretly, was also stunned. He glanced around and didn't notice Lu Yun's figure. Where did this kid go? Kakashi didn't know why. He always felt that Lu Yun in front of him was a little weird, and his third sense told him that Lu Yun's kind personality was just a disguise. Why did the high-level Hokage judge that Sasuke ran away with Orochimaru, and what did the people who gathered together with the high-level Hokage say on that day? And, at that time, Kakashi was investigating as soon as the news of Sasuke's betrayal was announced. It is said that someone seems to have seen Sasuke and Lu Yun confront each other on the street and then disappeared. As for what happened afterwards, no one knows. That being the case, how did the Anbu ninja see Sasuke and Orochimaru walking together? With Orochimaru's character, it is absolutely impossible to let an Anbu ninja go so easily. Strange, all this is too strange. Lu Yun's avatar on Hokage Rock sensed the unusual aura around him and couldn't help but frown, and the surrounding chakras seemed to be affected as well. What exactly is going on? Someone must have been here, but his knowledge did not perceive other breaths. Forget it, since you have already left, there is nothing to care about. After Lu Yun disappeared, a cactus-like figure slowly emerged from the tree. Absolutely, his perception is too strong. If it weren't for the camouflage in the trees, we might have been discovered. Heiju looked deeply at the position where Lu Yun left. This Konoha ninja is not easy, the plan seems to be speeding up. Why, that kid can actually hypnotize Itachi, who has a kaleidoscope Sharingan. Kid, Konoha is really lucky. Obito gritted his teeth, his masked eyes were as cold as frost. Obito, according to information, this kid has already learned the magic of MT. Meowmu. And, it's a perfect fairy art, without any restrictions. You should know the power of fairy art. Highway said deeply. Ah, that's right. Immortal art is indeed dreadful, but immortal art has a time limit, and the permanent immortal mode that Konoha has rumored is simply false. Heiju saw it with his own eyes. Lu Yun did not maintain the fairy mode at all this was just false news from Konoha. However, even Heiju couldn't think that it was just a shadow clone of Lu Yun. As for Lu Yun at this time, he was still on his way back. Nagato's 2 tails and 4 tails have been successfully captured. However, the one-tailed Jinchuriki of Sand Hidden Village has disappeared. Who killed Scorpion and Deidara at that time has not been investigated yet. Heiju said slowly. Hehe, that guy Nagato, dead people are nothing but rubbish. The death of Deidara and Scorpion means that they are not capable enough. Next, to speed up the capture of the tailed beast, Nagato is already making a plan to capture the 9-tailed beast. I think I am a god, but in the end it is just a pawn. Obito sneered, and the surrounding space suddenly twisted and Obito was sucked into the vortex. And Hei let out a creepy laugh in despair at the sky. Obito, whether it's you, Nagato, or Uchiha Madara are all just in my fabricated dream. I am the real mastermind behind the whole ninja world. After the 4 major ninja villages learned about Aikichu Riki and betrayed Sand Hidden Village, almost all ninja villages were trying their best to find Aikichu Riki. And because of Akatsuki's appearance, this organization that has never been heard of has gradually surfaced under the noses of the major ninja villages. Cloud Shadow Squad. According to the news they got, one-tailed Jinchuriki from Sand Hidden Village once appeared in this area. The search team led by Darui is searching for Gaara in this area, which is near Taki Ninja Village. The Union Village team appeared in Taki Ninja Village, and the ninjas in Taki Ninja Village did not dare to say anything except to protest. After all, Union Village is one of the 5 great ninja villages, and their Longan Village is just a small ninja village. As long as the other party does not do anything to threaten the village, the senior management of Longan Village will turn a blind eye. Captain Darui, I haven't found a trace of Jinchuriku. Captain, is our news wrong? Why did that one-tailed Jinchuriki come to Taki Ninja Village, and the meatball shop we passed by before seemed to have traces of a fight? Ah, yes, the impact of that terrain can only be achieved by S-rank ninjutsu. Darui's face darkened. Their Union Village lost the Irway Jinchuriki not long ago, and the 2-tailed Jinchuriki who defeated them was the undead duo who claimed to be organized by Shao. It is said that 4 tails Jinchuriki Laozi was also captured by this organization. Capture Tail Orc Churli. What is the purpose of this organization? At least for the entire ninja world, this self-proclaimed organization has threatened the safety of the entire ninja world. Captain Darui, did the upper echelons of Takinobu Village hide Aikyo Jinchuriki? One of the Chunin said. Darui shook his head. Taki Ninja Village is not that stupid. If you get something that doesn't match your own strength, you can only meet death in the end. It has been a month since they left the village, and it seems that this Jinjuriki has already gone into hiding. Such an aimless search is not a solution. The only worry now is whether Iso Jinchuriki has been taken away by the organization named Akatsuki. Withdraw. Go back to the village. Under the order of Darui, the tailed beast search team of Union Village left Longan Village. On the way, Lu Yun was on his way back to the village in a leisurely manner. There is no hurry to inherit the immortal art of the Wetbone Forest for the time being. If you want to know the location of the Wetbone Forest, just ask Tsunade. Not long ago, he received feedback from the shadow clone that it seemed that someone was spying on Konoha. As for who it was, Lu Yun himself didn't know. But even if anyone spied on Konoha, Lu Yun wouldn't care too much. Now Lu Yun's strength has completely surpassed the cage-level ninja. Even facing the resurrected Uchiha Madara, the current Lu Yun can do it with ease. Now that the Zongnin exam and all the plots have changed, I don't know if the time for Pain to attack Konoha will be advanced. It is said that Jiraiya left the village to investigate the Akatsuki organization again. I hope Zilai at this time will not do anything impulsive, otherwise. In fact, Lu Yun felt that it was a pity that Zilai also died, and if possible, he would avoid such a thing from happening. At this moment, Lu Yun suddenly stopped his steps. Several figures surrounded Lu Yun layer by layer. Lu Yun glanced at the forehead guard. Yun Ren, Captain, this kid is Konoha's ninja. Darui suddenly appeared in front of Lu Yun. Black shirt, white feathers. A saber at his waist. Could this guy be? Darui's pupils shrank suddenly. Konoha's swordsmanship genius. How could Konoha's assistant Hokage appear in such a place? Darui looked at Lu Yun deeply. Assistant Naruto. The rest of the Cloud Ninjas were stunned for a moment, staring at Lu Yun with disbelieving eyes. This Konoha kid is the assistant of Hokage. How can this be? Wait, could this kid be Konoha's swordsman genius? It is said that this kid's sword skills are even more terrifying than Konoha Baya. No matter in any village, there are ninjas who have sneaked into the enemy's village, but the intelligence ninja of Yunnan village said that Lu Yun has always stayed in the village. Hiss. The one in Konoha village is a shadow clone. Darui, Raikage's second right hand, understood it all at once. Why can't I be here? I'm here to take care of your Cloud Ninja. When I'm in a good mood, I can let you go. Disappear immediately from my sight. It doesn't take much effort to kill this group of Cloud Ninja Lu Yun. Brat, what are you talking about? Darui's eyes suddenly lowered. Konoha and Union Village are in a hostile relationship. If this kid died here, wouldn't Konoha lose a hand? Darui looked at Lu Yun carefully. This kid didn't look as scary as the rumors said, he felt like a weak scholar. Could Konoha's news be false? Those eyes are indeed like those of an eagle, but they don't seem to be as sharp as the eyes of an eagle. Arrogance. Darui snorted coldly. It is rumored that Konoha's eagle eye is better at swordsmanship than White Fang. Today I want to see if the rumor is true. There was a fierce killing intent on Darui's body. Hawkeye. Hearing his title, Lu Yun shook his head helplessly. Is it because of my own eyes? It seems that the Cloud Ninjas are determined to seek death. Lu Yun pulled out his Zanpakuto, and glanced at Yun Ren. Flowers in the mirror and moon in the water. What are you doing? Darui had a bad premonition in his heart. A playful smile appeared on Lu Yun's face. Who knows? Darui's face suddenly darkened. Snort. Pretending to be a ghost. Darui's eyes were deep, and the thunder tunnel attached to the knife flashed a dazzling thunder light. Ha! Darui slashed down with a knife, and the thunder chakra erupted and raged around in an instant, sending out a lot of thunder and lightning. Lu Yun single-handedly resisted the playful smile at the corner of his mouth. For some reason Darui felt a creepy feeling. Captain Darui. Darui didn't care when he heard the cries of the Chunin around him. Sure enough, Konoha's Hokage assistant is not as exaggerated as the rumors say. In this case, don't blame him for not talking about martial arts. Hey, you also come to help. The moment Darui turned his head, his eyes suddenly shrank into needlepoints. Phew, bright blood splashed out, Darui's expression twisted in pain, and a mouthful of blood spit out from his mouth. He looked at the ninjas in his village in disbelief. What the hell are you doing? Why are these Yun Yin's eyes looking at him with resentment, and the corners of some people's eyes are actually moist? You fool, he actually killed Captain Darui. Unforgivable, unforgivable. Under the influence of the mirror, in Yunyin's eyes just now, it was Lu Yun who stabbed Darui's abdomen with a knife. And the Lu Yun in their eyes is also Lu Yun. This is the frightening thing about the mirror. Can manipulate the five senses of the other party, and let the other party see what the owner wants. What the hell are you talking about? Pooh, pooh. A few more sharp knives pierced Darui's abdomen, and Darui couldn't bear it and let out a wailing scream. And one of them, Yun Nin, who was not hypnotized, stood there with a pale face. He looked at the scene in front of him in horror, and shouted in horror. Hey, you guys, what did you do? Lu Yun chuckled, and took a few steps back to relieve the influence of Jinghua Shuiyu on those cloud ninjas. Ah, those cloud ninjas fell to the ground in fright, looking at Darui with a few knives in his stomach in horror. Why Captain Darui? Wasn't that Konoha's ninja just now? Hateful. Wow. Darui spat out another mouthful of blood, and looked at Lu Yun in horror. Illusion. When did you use illusion? Lu Yun looked at the embarrassed Darui indifferently. Then when did you think I didn't use illusion? From the moment I draw the sword, everything about you has been under my control. Could it be that it was that time? Forget it, it doesn't matter anymore. With your injuries, you won't last long. But don't worry, your subordinates will also accompany you. Darui gritted his teeth with a look of resignation. He dropped his blade and quickly formed a seal. Lay done black spot. A black leopard-shaped thunderbolt erupted from Darui's body and raged all around. The black thunderstorm lightning swept towards Lu Yun, and the ground formed outlines one after another under the influence of the black lightning. 81 of the Way of Binding, Duan Kong. As Lu Yun's voice fell, a defensive wall similar to air rose up, and the black leopard-shaped lightning disappeared in an instant at the moment of collision. What was that just now? Muji ninjutsu. Darui gradually lost consciousness, and his body couldn't stop leaning back. Am I done with this? Unwillingly, Darui fell to the ground and lost his life. Captain Darui. Some Yun Ren lost his mind and rushed towards Lu Yun angrily. In just 3 seconds, these cloud ninjas didn't know when Lu Yun came around behind them. Lu Yun's Zanpakutao was stained with blood, and when he flicked the blade vigorously, all the blood dripped on the ground. Pooh, pooh. A large amount of blood spewed out from the abdomen of the cloud ninjas in an instant, and the bloody cut was shocking to see. They looked at Lu Yun with horror on their faces, and spat out 2 words with the last of their strength: monster. The cloud ninja team is destroyed. Seeing the souls that hadn't dissipated, Lu Yun absorbed them into the collapsed jade. Just such a little soul doesn't have any virtual meaning. In fact, the broken face of Killian level doesn't mean much to Lu. What he wanted was Valsterd's Daiku, but this was not the world of Shinigami after all, and the ninja world didn't have Zuku. It is as difficult as heaven to give birth to the great void of Varstord. Is it Raikage's second right hand? It is enough for a person to have one hand, and cutting off your right hand should be harmless to you. No one knew who killed Darui and the others, and he could already imagine the fury of the fourth Raikage when he knew about it. In fact, there is another place in the ninja world that Lu Yun is more concerned about, and that is the ancient country of Lulin. The huge energy of the legendary dragon vein really made Lu Yun very concerned. The key is, the power of the dragon veins can allow Lu Yun to go back to the past, if he goes back to the past. Is there a person like himself in the ninja world in the past? Nothing happened in Konoha village, even Hinata. Before leaving, he told Hinata that he was going out for a trip, and the shadow clone who often came and went at Hinata's house was currently unknown to anyone except Hinata. Want to go back? It has been more than a month since I came out by myself. If the power of the dragon veins accidentally brought him into the past, Lu Yun himself could not estimate how much time it would take. Forget it, let's go back to Konoha. Konoha Hyuga's house. During the days when Lu Yun left, Hinata felt empty in her heart as if she had lost something. Although accompanied by the shadow clone, Hinata knew that the shadow clone was just a shadow clone and not the real Lu Yun. Lu Yunjin, 2 months have passed and when will you come back? Hinata, I miss you so much. At this time, Lu Yun's shadow clone pushed the door open and entered. Hinata, the main body is back. After the shadow clone Lu Yun finished speaking, he disappeared into the room in a puff of smoke. Hinata was stunned for a while, then ran out barefoot regardless of putting on her shoes. At the gate of the Hyuga compound, Hinata looked left and right and finally saw the familiar figure. Her eyes were instantly rosy and she walked towards the familiar figure. The girl crashed into Lu Yun's arms all at once. Hinata hugged Lu Yun tightly and murmured softly, "Lu Yunjin, I miss you so much." Lu Yun was stunned for a moment, a smile appeared on his face, and he stroked Hinata's small head. He could feel the girl's longing for him. "I made out with Hinata all night, except for a certain step. Basically there are traces of Lu Yun on every part of Hinata's body." "Yo, Teacher Kai." Lu Yun came to the training place. "It's Lu Yun, long time no see." Maeda couldn't help feeling emotional when he looked at the handsome young man in front of him. How long has passed since the boy in front of him has become the assistant of Hokage? Compared with Lu Yun, who had a sharp temperament in the past, Lu Yun now looks easier to get along with people. "Mr. Kai, this is a task entrusted to you by Master Hokage." Lu Yun took out a scroll and handed it to Maeda. Oh, it turned out to be an A-level mission, escorting the daimyo of the country of stone. "I will handle it." Maeda grinned and gave Lu Yun a thumbs up. Lu Yun smiled lightly. "An A-level task, of course, can't help Konoha's blue beast. You must know that even the average elite JNIN is no match for Metkai when he opens the 7th gate. What's more, the task this time is just to escort the daimyo of the stone country, if nothing unexpected happens. There is no danger along the way." Teacher Kai. Xiao Li, who came out of the nearby woods, was stunned when he saw Lu Yun. Lu Yun is here too. Long time no see, Lu Yun. Well, long time no see, Xiao Li. It's really nostalgic, you have now become the assistant of Hokage. I want to follow in your footsteps too. A trace of determination flashed in Xiao Li's eyes. Maeda looked at Lu Yun and hesitated for a while, but he still asked, "Lu Yun, how many doors can you open now?" Xiao Li showed a shocked expression. Can Lu Yun also know how to Dunjia? With a bang, a fist the size of a sandbag hit Xiao Li's head. "Li, you don't remember things, have I told you already?" Xiao Li, who had been punched, only remembered at this time, and he bowed to Maeda apologetically and apologized. "I'm very sorry, Mr. Kai, I remember now. 8 doors Dunjia, the 7th door." Lu Yun responded lightly. Hiss. Both Maeda and Xiao Li couldn't help but gasped. It has been able to open the 7th door. Truly an all-round genius. Lu Yun. Xiao Li looked at Lu Yun adoringly. Ever since he knew that Lu Yun had served as Hokage's assistant, Lu Yun had become Xiao Li's idol. He can barely open the 5th door now, but Lu Yun can already open the 7th door. Sure enough, it is very difficult to surpass you. Lu Yunjin. Jingle. Lu Yun shook the wind chime at the door. Who is it, so early? Naruto, who was squinting for a while, pushed open the door, rubbed his eyes, looked at Lu Yun in front of him, and was stunned for a while. Brother, how did you come? Lu Yun directly threw a bag of food and ramen into Naruto's arms. Come and see you. Lu Yun walked into the room and immediately smelled a strange smell. Looking at the messy room, several black lines appeared on Lu Yun's head. Naruto, is this how you live at home? Ahahahahahaha. Naruto touched his head in embarrassment, his face blushed involuntarily. Because I was alone at home, I didn't clean up much. Lu Yun shook his head helplessly, and took on the role of nanny. About 10 minutes later, several bags of garbage were piled up in front of Naruto's house, and Lu Yun felt much more comfortable looking at the bright room. It seems that my obsessive-compulsive disorder has also been brought into this world. Huh, brother, what did you just say? Nothing. Lu Yun and Naruto sat in the room. They both opened a bucket of instant noodles, waiting for the water to boil. Brother is now the assistant of Hokage. Sure enough, it's hard to keep up with big brother's footsteps. A bitter smile appeared on Naruto's face. Lu Yun watched Naruto come to Naruto's side and gave him a hand knife. Naruto suddenly covered his head in pain and yelled, "Brother, what are you doing? My head is not a wooden fish." Lu Yun looked at the angry Naruto and nodded. Well, it looks like there's nothing wrong with it. Regardless of whether I am assistant Hokage or not, the relationship between us has not changed. If the position of assistant Hokage hadn't been begging for me to sit by the old lady Tsunade, I wouldn't bother to take that troublesome position. Ha, brother, you say that the 5th Hokage will be killed. Naruto remembered that when he knew Tsunade's identity and said Tsunade old woman, he couldn't help shivering when he recalled that scene. Woman. Sure enough, it was terrible. TCH, I'm not afraid of her. Holding the water, Lu Yun first poured hot water into Naruto's bucket of noodles and then poured his own. For some reason, Naruto had a feeling in his heart. He felt his own heartbeat. This feeling. Is it the feeling of home? Lu Yun asked about Naruto's recent past, and Jilai also said a week ago that he had a mission and left temporarily. At present, Naruto is still unable to skillfully control Nine-Tails' chakra. You must know that Nine-Tails' hatred for humans has not decreased much. Kyuubi, who lost half of his chakra and was sealed in the kid's body, was very upset. Now Kyuubi is waiting for an opportunity to break out of the seal. Zilai also. I hope it's not as I guessed. The plot has changed. If Jiraiya went to the Shao organization, it would be more ominous. Brother, what is it like to be by Hokage's side? Naruto asked after taking a bite. Huh, why do you ask that? I'm going to be a Hokage man in the future. Of course I'm asking my brother to get used to the Hokage position in the future. Naruto said confidently. As expected of you. But this other feeling of being watched by something, that gaze seems to come from the Nine-Tails in Naruto's body. Nine-Tails. There is no rush either. It won't be too late when Naruto can control the Nine-Tails chakra. It's nothing, it's just trouble. Ha, how can this be? Brother, Hokage is the dream of everyone in the village. Naruto looked disbelieving. Lu Yun looked at Naruto indifferently. Naruto, not everyone has the same dream. I'm not even interested in Hokage. Looking at the look in Lu Yun's eyes, Naruto also knew that what Lu Yun said was not a lie. Tomorrow you'd better pack up and have a task for you. Mission. But I'm just a patient, I can't perform the task alone. Naruto went from being excited at the beginning to a little frustrated now. The lecherous fairy went to perform a separate task by himself again, and refused to bring himself with him no matter what. Really, am I an apprentice or not? The moment Lu Yun went out, he looked back at Naruto. I'll accompany you. Originally, as Hokage's assistant, Lu Yun should have stayed by Tsunade's side. But Tsunade couldn't control Lu Yun, so he could only let Lu Yun take him to carry out the mission. I really miss it, I haven't come out for a long time. Naruto looked around excitedly. Brother, what mission are we performing this time? Lu Yun said lightly, it's just an A-level mission. Class A. Speaking of this, Naruto became even more excited, waved his fist, and said with a proud face, Uncle Naruto finally has a chance to show his skills. This A-level mission was entrusted by the Kingdom of Stuffing. Because of a rebellious ninja Jonin from Wuin village, the Kingdom of Stuffing frequently harassed the Kingdom of Stuffing with the power he developed. The power developed by that traitor has already threatened the ninja. Every time it is invaded, the ninja will lose a few ninjas, and the ninja has no choice but to turn to other ninja villages for help. However, none of Ninja Village is willing to get involved in this matter. The Kingdom of Filling had no choice but to issue a reward for help from the 5 great nations, because Konoha has a good reputation in the ninja world, so the Kingdom of Filling first contacted Konoha. It takes at least a week's journey from the country of fire to the country of meat. I don't know if the Kingdom of Stuffing can last until then. Small countries are so weak, and the rest of the small countries have no time to protect their own interests and help other small countries. What's more, if a small country dies, it will also benefit several other small countries. This time, the Kingdom of Stuffing can be said to have spent a lot of money to hire Konoha. Lu Yun's mission this time is actually to see if Naruto's strength has increased. But this silly character, nothing has changed. On the 3rd day, the originally clear sky suddenly became cloudy. Tick, tick. After a while, it began to rain cats and dogs. Umbrella, umbrella, where is the umbrella? Naruto rummaged through his backpack and finally found an umbrella, but when he was about to hand it to Lu Yun, he suddenly froze. What is this? Why doesn't the rain fall on Big Brother? Naruto looked at Lu Yun in shock. When the raindrops fell, it seemed that there was an invisible barrier on Lu Yun's body that bounced the rain away. This is just a way to control the spiritual pressure. In fact, Lu Yun's control of the spiritual pressure is not perfect, and the control of the spiritual pressure is also particularly harsh if he wants to practice more advanced ghost ways. It just so happens that this is also a way to practice Reiatsu. Amazing. Brother, can I learn? Naruto's eyes seem to be twinkling with 2 yellow stars. It's so cool to be able to block the rain without an umbrella. No, you can't learn. This is not ninjutsu. Ah. Not ninjutsu. Naruto was immediately disappointed. He knew that Luyan had many weird and unpredictable methods. But, it's really cool. The current Naruto is not that mature. To be honest, the current Naruto is still like some children. Moreover, the size difference between Luyan and Naruto is not 1.5 stars. Naruto is only 1.6 meters now, while Luyan is already 1.73 meters. Along the way, Naruto looked enviously at Luyan, who didn't need an umbrella. However, in the final analysis, why is it me who carries things? The eldest brother obviously didn't take anything in his hand. Do you think I'm a handyman? At this time, outside the stuffing land, corpses of ninjas were lying outside one after another, and the surrounding area was stained scarlet due to the rain. All the daimyos and lords of the Kingdom of Meat looked at the rebels gathered outside in horror. There are not many ninjas in the country, and a small country cannot be compared with a big country. What's more, the strength of the Kingdom of Thieves is relatively weak among the small countries. They were originally allies of the Kingdom of Thunder, but the Kingdom of Thunder turned a blind eye to the documents of the Kingdom of Thunder. As early as a month ago, the Kingdom of Meat sent envoys to Daimyo with paperwork, but there is still no news. The Land of Thunder really has no reputation. They can't last a week if this continues. Coupled with the rain, the defense lines around the border have been affected. These gatherings of rebels are like tarsal maggots. After a wave of good news, they stop and consume the power of the Kingdom of Meat. More than 20 ninjas in their own country have been killed or injured. Among them are 2 JNIN and more than a dozen Chunin. The Kingdom of Filling took the initiative to attack at the beginning, intending to wipe out this group of rebels with all their strength, but who would have thought that this group of traitors had already designed a trap and killed the Kingdom of Filling in the distant valley. The base camp where the rebels gathered, a group of rebels gathered in a small tent and drank happily. Boss Gatai, it won't be long before the Kingdom of Stuffing will be in our pocket. It's better to follow Mrs. Gui, the delicious ones and the hot ones. It's disgusting to be in a village and do your bidding. This group of people has a trace on their foreheads. This is the rebellion from different villages. Ordinary rebellion is because they do something in the village and do not want to be punished. Leaving the village is considered rebellion. And the person known as the boss of Keita is the Jonin who rebelled from Wuin village. There is a hideous scar on the corner of his mouth, and he doesn't look like a good person. Gatai boss enjoys the adoring eyes of the people around him. This feeling is much better than in Wuin village. The country of stuffing. Sooner or later it's in their pocket. The rebels camped on the border of the Kingdom of Meat. On the one hand, it is to keep a distance from the Kingdom of Meat, and on the other hand, it is also to block ninjas who may come to help the country of Meat. If there are really ninjas from other villages coming to the Land of Resources, then their rebellion will not be easy to bear. A total of 4 camps were set up around here. There are defenses 5 miles away from the central camp, and they are staring at the few roads that can lead to the Kingdom of Meat. When will this weather stop raining? A rebel from Sao Nin village complained, spitting. Who knows, the weather in this country is really weird and changeable, and it started to rain cats and dogs in the blink of an eye. Why should the Kingdom of Meat resist stubbornly? They will fall sooner or later. Following boss Keita is much more comfortable than living in Ninja Village. Keita was able to gather so many rebellious ninjas partly because of his strength. You must know that it is not easy to subdue these rebellious ninjas. Hey, are there 2 figures there? One of them stared into the distance and said. That Kusanagi's expression changed. He looked at the 2 illusory figures, who had a cigarette in their mouths and choked it out before it had time. Holding something similar to a bobbin in your hand, pull the lead hard. Call out. The cyan flare exploded in the air. Are you here to support the ninjas from the Land of Meat? Lu Yun and Naruto looked at the 2 traitors and paused. Hey, how did that kid manage that the rain didn't fall on him? Look at that forehead as Konoha's ninja. Konoha really looks down on people, and even sent 2 little ghosts to the country of love. Isn't this here to die? Lu Yun sensed several auras approaching rapidly around him, and he said lightly, does Naruto want to go? Of course. That's it, then I won't make a move. let me see how far your strength has increased. Naruto smiled confidently. Then you have to be careful, big brother. Listening to the conversation between the two, the faces of the two rebels suddenly darkened. Hey, you two brats, there is a limit to how you look down on people. Forget it, it's just a Konoha ninja, labor and capital are all traitors, how could they be afraid of Konoha? Kill these two brats. The Kusanagi who stopped him showed a ferocious smile on his face. Leave this kid to me to deal with. The traitor had no objection either, but it was just two brats because there was nothing wrong with it. Kusanagi pulled out his ninja sword and raised it, and with one blow, he wanted to split Naruto in two. Ding! Naruto took out kunai and resisted Kusanagi's attack. What? This brat. A smile appeared on the corner of Naruto's mouth. Uncle, don't underestimate people. Multiple shadow clone technique. Bang bang bang. In an instant, there were more than 20 Naruto around. Kusanagi and the other renegade were stunned. Hey hey hey. Are you kidding me? This is Konoha's ninja. This brat is just a ninja. Ninja. It seems that you don't know how terrible Konoha shinobi is. When you meet Konoha ninja, you have the power to fight. If you meet Konoha shinobi, you still have a chance to escape. If you meet Konoha shinobi, find a pit and bury yourself and you're done. Up. Go together. Oh, the Naruto army rushed over like a crush. Water escape. Water dragon bullet technique. A water dragon rose into the sky, and the huge water dragon instantly submerged Naruto's shadow clone. The rebels guarding from other places also rushed over. What are you doing? It's just two little ghosts, and they were scared like this. It's really useless. Is it Konoha's little ghost? If you don't think it's Konoha's ninja, I won't dare to kill you. My life was ruined by you Konoha. Kill them. The cynical smile on Naruto's face also became more dignified, and he looked back at Lu Yun without any intention of making a move. That being the case, Big Brother will let you see my strength. Naruto used the technique of multiple shadow clones again, this time there were hundreds of shadow clones. Wow, those traitors were stunned for a while. Is that brat really a traitor? With so many shadow clones, how huge is his chakra? And, the other brat, isn't he going to make a move? Brat, dare to underestimate them. Then let you see how powerful we are. Lu Yun who was watching the battle couldn't help but frown. Naruto's physical skills are too bad. This is clearly an advantage obtained only by relying on the number of shadow clones. Another key. Naruto is too merciful to these people. In the ninja world, you die or I die. Kindness to the enemy is cruelty to oneself. Hasn't he taught Naruto this truth since then? These people clearly want Naruto's life. Screw pill. One person flew upside down in an instant after being hit by Naruto's spiral pill, and even the trees were broken. Now the eldest brother has seen my strength. Idiot, what are you proud of? Behind. Naruto's expression changed instantly when he heard Lu Yun's voice. TCH, brat, you are too naive. Successful. The traitor fell with a knife, and Naruto covered his head with his hands. In an instant, a white light pierced through the head of the traitor. Lu Yun came to Naruto's side in a blink of an eye and said coldly, Naruto, you let me down so much. No matter when you face the enemy, you can't take it lightly, and now you. Too naive. Treat them like this. Tear. With a ruthless slash, a terrifying flying slash swept away, and heads flew up into the air. The surrounding air instantly smelled of blood. The ground was dyed blood red in an instant, and the blood rain fell, and the surrounding small pools turned into pools of blood. The faces of the remaining ninjas turned pale when they saw this scene. What was that just now? Flying slash. Is that a lie? That kid from Konoha is so terrifying. Seeing Lu Yun's knife, those traitors were scared to death, and they had no intention of fighting anymore. Throwing down his weapon, he turned and ran without looking back. Lu Yun chuckled lightly. Is it possible to escape? 73 of the Broken Way, Shuanglian Kangwo Falls. The Shuanglian Kangwo pendant, which gave up singing, did not lose any power in Lu Yun's hands. Two red flames roared away like flaming beasts, the huge flames exploded, and the terrifying high temperature scorched the surroundings. Ziz, the surrounding small pools were all evaporated, and the whole area became foggy. This kind of high temperature is simply not something people can bear, and those people don't even have a chance to react. The instantaneous Shuanglian Kangwo pendant is equivalent to Muji ninjutsu. How could they react to it? Under the burning of the flames, the group of rebels turned into charred wrecks one by one, and the air smelled of burnt in addition to the smell of blood. Seeing this, Lu Yun just frowned, without much influence. But Naruto was no exception. He knelt on the ground and supported it with his hands, as if he was about to spit out the bitter water in his stomach. Naruto has also killed ninjas, but Naruto has never seen such a terrifying scene. "Brother, it's too cruel for you to do this," Naruto said with a pale face and a trembling voice. Lu Yun smiled sarcastically, revealing that contemptuous tone without any concealment. "Cruel, Naruto, the word cruel has never been used in the ninja world. Just now, you dared to stop in the face of these traitors. If I hadn't been by your side, you would have been the soul of their sword. Kindness to the enemy is cruelty to yourself. If you go to the battlefield with this mentality all the time, you won't live long at all." Naruto lowered his head and trembled all over. He clenched his hands and said unwillingly, "Brother, can't the battle in the ninja world stop? Why can't everyone live in peace?" Lu Yun looked at Naruto indifferently. "Because we are human. People have 7 emotions and 6 desires. All disasters and calamities are caused by your desires. The fight is inevitable. In Naruto's ideal world, it is hoped that there will be no more wars in the ninja world and everyone can coexist peacefully. But this is basically impossible. The big countries themselves are suspicious of each other and will never be able to reach cooperation, and the humble small country can only choose to support the big country and get shelter. Once it breaks out, the small country is completely destroyed as a battlefield." Looking at the hesitant Naruto, Lu Yun shook his head. "It is necessary to change Naruto's mentality, and it is not impossible for the ninja world to want peace. That is Konoha unifying the ninja world. In fact, Konoha in the first Hokage period could unify the entire ninja world, but the first Hokage didn't have that idea. During the life of the first Hokage, the reason why the ninja world had a short period of peace was because of the strength of the first Hokage. You must know that after the fall of the first Hokage, the 4 major powers jointly launched a war against Konoha. Although Konoha won in the end, there were heavy casualties. War is cruel, and the ninja world is bound to be unified in the future, and the only way to unify the entire ninja world is Konoha." Lu Yun's eyes were deep, staring into the distance. In the tent, a traitor rushed in covered in blood. "Boss Keita is in trouble. Konoha's ninja is here. Our brothers are dead." The rebels who were still drinking in the camp were all stunned at this moment, and the smiles on their faces gradually turned into expressions of fear. Even Keita had a look of fear on his face. Konoha Ninja Village. Even if Konoha's strength is not as good as before, the title of No. 1 Ninja Village is still Konoha Murakami. Konoha's ninja came so fast. He should have broken through the defense line of the Stuffed Kingdom in one go a few days ago. How many people came from Konoha? 2 people. What, only 2? Are they all Junin? Keita stared at the traitor and asked ferociously. The rebel from Yenian village lowered his head and whispered, "It's not Jnin, but 2 brats." Boom. Keita threw the wine glass out of his hand. He thought it was nothing but Konoha's 2 little ghosts. "A bunch of idiots. Idiots. It's just 2 brats. You're scared out of your wits. What a coward. I want to see how powerful Konoha's kid is." Keita pushed hard and knocked the IWA ninja to the ground, and everyone in the tent looked at that IWA nin with contempt. What a waste, to be scared like this by 2 brats. That Yanran curled up, eyes full of fear and whispered tremblingly, "You don't know anything at all, that's not an ordinary kid." Keita and the rebels walked out of the camp, and the next moment their pupils shrank into needlepoints. The several camps that had been set up before were all destroyed, and what made them even more frightened was that the smell of blood in the air would be so strong. At a glance, there are stumps and flesh everywhere. These people were hacked to death by sharp knives. Mrs. Gatai looked at the 2 figures solemnly. One of the brats is actually a ninja. Cut. A bunch of useless trash. Keita quickly seals, mobilizing a lot of chakra in his body. Water escape. Water dragon bullet technique. A huge water dragon suddenly condensed behind him, which was much larger than the previous water dragon. Keita's water dragon bullet technique. After all, the chakra of the Jonin is different from that of the Chunin. The ferocious head of the water dragon was terrifying, and the next second the ferocious water dragon roared towards Lu Yun and Naruto. 81 of the Way of Binding, Duan Kong. In front of Lu Yun, a transparent defensive wall suddenly rose up. The water dragon bombs hit the defensive wall and exploded instantly, as if there was another heavy rain in the surrounding area. Nani, since my water dragon bomb is invalid. Kata's complexion finally became strange, he gritted his teeth and sealed again. Water escape great waterfall technique. A wave of chakra condensed in Kata's mouth, and in the next second, he seemed to open a sluice, and a huge stream of water was sprayed out of his mouth to submerge the surrounding areas. Lu Yun's gaze remained unchanged. A bright knife light erupted in an instant, and the unmatched slash cut through the huge water flow. The suffocating momentum of the black slash made Kata and the other rebels fearful and felt the threat of death. Flying slash. Could it be that this brat is Konoha's swordsmanship genius? Escape. Without any hesitation, Kata yelled and ran away desperately. Those rebellious ninjas who didn't respond were all involved in the slash and turned into pieces of meat. As for Kata, who was running away, he looked back and couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief that no one caught up. But in the next second, Lu Yun appeared in front of Kata's eyes in a blink of an eye, and swung his knife down. Pooh! A head flew up and sprinkled blood all around, and that head rolled to the ground like a chamber pot. The unwilling look in the eyes gradually lost its light. Betrayal, all annihilated. Hiss. Brother is indeed a big brother, that ninja is a jonin. Naruto looked at Lu Yun with admiration. Lu Yun put away his Zanpakutao, looked at the vast land in front of him, and took a deep breath. Naruto, you have to remember that in the ninja world, either you die or I die. Only with strong strength can there be strong capital. There are no longer a small number of small countries like the country of meat, and they can only rely on big countries to seek shelter. The only way to achieve peace is unity. Unite. At this time, Naruto's thoughts were not so mature, but even hearing these two words, Naruto's heart couldn't help shaking. What does this feel like? Is the ninja world unified? Can it really be done? The ninjas and daimyos on the towering city walls of the kingdom of Filling watched the commotion caused by the rebellion assembly camp, with fear in their eyes. What are these traitors doing? Could it be that they are preparing for the next wave of offensives to attack the country of stuffing? My lord, there is someone. The daimyo was taken aback when he heard this. Alert! The daimyo gritted his teeth and showed unwillingness. The rebels are coming again. No, no, Master Daimyo, it's Konoha's ninja. It's Konoha's reinforcements. What? Konoha's reinforcements? The daimyo was stunned for a moment, and then cheered like the ninjas around him. The country of their love. Finally there is help. Follow me down to greet you. Yes, the daimyo and a group of ninjas, all the high-level personnel of the already stuffed country, all greeted the Konoha ninja at the border. But when they saw Lu Yun and Naruto, everyone was stunned. It's Konoha's ninja. But why are there two brats? Did Konoha just send two little ghosts to reinforce them? What a joke. The daimyo and high-level personnel of the kingdom of stuffing looked around, as if they wanted to find other Konoha ninjas. But it seems that only the two little ghosts, Konoha, come to their kingdom. The daimyo of the stuffed country suddenly had a bad face. These big countries are too much. What's the use of sending two brats to reinforce them? Even if these two brats came, they would just die. These hateful big countries actually tease their small countries like this. My lord, what should we do? A bitter smile appeared on the face of Jonin, who was always beside him. Hey, let's settle these two children first. I'm afraid these two children don't know what task they are taking on. The daimyo sighed helplessly, and a miserable smile appeared on his face. That's how ninja is. Law of the jungle. The Junin went out to meet Lu Yun and Naruto, but the Junin suddenly noticed something in Lu Yun's hand. Immediately, the shinobi stopped in his tracks, staring in horror at the round thing that was still stained with blood. Lu Yun threw Kuta's head expressionlessly. Looking at the head that rolled to the ground, the expression on the face of Jonin from the kingdom of taste gradually became terrified. This is real. This head. Shangrin from the kingdom of stuffing rubbed his eyes in disbelief. After he saw clearly, he finally took a deep breath. This is Kata's head. Could it be that? He looked at Lu Yun in shock. The huge movement just now was not made by the rebels, but these two Konoha brats. Since Kata's heads are all here, wouldn't it be said Excuse me, Master Konoha, those traitors. The ninja of the stuffed kingdom asked anxiously. Lu Yun responded lightly. The crisis in your land of love has been lifted, and you will be punished for treason and tolerance. Jonin covered his mouth, his eyes widened with an expression of disbelief. Incredible. Rebellion was actually solved by two little ghosts from Konoha. One of the keys is Jonin. After reporting the news, the high-level officials of the Kingdom of Meat were in an uproar. The daimyo of the Land of Sweets personally received and arranged Naruto and Lu Yun's basic necessities of life, and Ren went to the previous Ren camp to confirm the situation. Afterwards, the news received shocked the high-level officials of the entire Kingdom of Meat. All the camps of Ren were destroyed, and the corpses and flesh and blood of Ren were everywhere. The most astonishing thing is that the piece of land divided into two, the terrifying outline is like an abyss canyon, just looking at it from a distance makes people feel terrified. It's hard to imagine what happened here before. Konoha is indeed the #1 ninja village in the ninja world, even after going through so many wars, its background is still unfathomable. The bounty for this mission was fully given to Lu Yun and the others by the Tao Kingdom of 500,000 taels. Naruto has never seen so much money in his life, after seeing the boxes of belongings. Those eyes seem to be falling into the money. To Lu Yun, money is something outside of his body. No matter how much money there is, it will be nothing but waste when a disaster or war breaks out. After staying in the land of stuffing for a few days, Lu Yun and Naruto sat in the land of stuffing and provided their horses and large boxes of belongings to return to Konoha. Daimyo watched Lu Yun and Naruto go away, and slowly said to the subordinate officers beside him, "Contact the high-level officials of the Nation of Fire, and our Nation of Fire has applied to become an ally of the Nation of Fire. Since the Kingdom of Thunder is unwilling to help them, what agreement do they have with the Kingdom of Thunder? In the eyes of the Kingdom of Thunder, their Kingdom of Soul is nothing more than grasshoppers, not important. It is better for them to seek the shelter of Konoha. My lord, will this offend the Land of Thunder?" Snort. Those guys from the Kingdom of Thunder who have no reputation, if the Kingdom of Soul encounters any disaster, do you think the Kingdom of Thunder will send someone to protect us? At least Konoha's reputation in the entire ninja world is at least guaranteed. If our country is in crisis without these two Konoha ninjas, our country may be afraid. The subordinate officials at the side also understood, and responded to the daimyo, and then started to prepare the official documents of the Kingdom of Fire. Money, money, a lot of money. Naruto hugged the treasure box and turned into a little money fan, rubbing against the box. Lu Yun also looked helpless. Why is Naruto acting as if he has never seen money? The overall strength of the Kingdom of Stuffing is actually mediocre. There are not many ninjas in the village, so it is no wonder that they are embarrassed by a group of rebels. But isn't the Kingdom of Meat an ally of the Kingdom of Thunder? The Kingdom of Thunder didn't respond at all. However, after Lu Yun finished thinking, several figures suddenly blocked the way of Lu Yun and Naruto. Look at the foreheads on their heads. It's Yunin. Really say Cao Cao. Cao Cao is here. Chapter 91. Why is Konoha's ninja here? Hey, two brats. Stop. The Kingdom of Thunder deserves to be a turtle, and the people they sent are only now arriving after everything has been settled. Whispering sound. Don't you take us seriously. These two little ghosts from Konoha seem to be here to reinforce the Kingdom of Stuffing. However, these are not important anymore. It seems that the crisis of the Kingdom of Meat has been resolved by these two brats. As for the property of the Kingdom of Meat, HMPH, it's just Konoha's two little ghosts. Doesn't killing them mean that they have completed the task? Brother, it's not good. Naruto looked at these cloud ninjas with a very ugly expression. Naruto, come here, Lu Yun said lightly. Naruto cautiously came to Lu Yun's side, and Lu Yun handed the rope to Naruto. In the next second, Lu Yun's figure suddenly disappeared. The group of Yun Ren couldn't help but tremble for some reason, and an extremely cold chill enveloped them. Tear. Before the cloud ninjas understood what happened, a companion suddenly fell to the ground. His upper body and lower body were separated at the same time and cut in half. A large amount of blood spurted out, and many organs in the body were scattered everywhere. What was that just now? Satoru looked at his companion on the ground with a stiff face, and his mind went blank. Instant body technique. Wrong. That is not the instant body technique. This kind of speed is no longer the instant body. This Konoha brat. Warning all around. Yun Nin, who was originally aggressive, suddenly became chaotic because of the death formation of his companions, and they looked around in horror, trying to find Lu Yun's figure. Hateful. Where is the person? Since you can't find this brat, then go find that little brat with yellow hair. He couldn't believe that another kid was so weird. You two, go and catch that brat. Hi. The two Cloud Ninja Chunin jumped up and stopped in midair at the moment when the shuriken just flew out. Ding ding ding. Accompanied by sparks, those shurikens turned into fragments and fell to the ground. Call out. Lu Yun's figure suddenly appeared in front of the two of them, and the two Yun Nin Chunin fell with a simple knife without any resistance at all. Sword pressure. Boom. Suddenly, a huge spiritual pressure erupted from Lu Yun's body, and it was just a simple swing of the sword. Reiatsu turned into a terrifying shock wave, a dazzling white light poured into the sea like a flood, and the devastating energy instantly wiped out the surrounding plants and the earth. What kind of power is this? Sutaro looked at the whiteness in front of him with the last consciousness. His body was gradually torn apart. Under this huge energy, even Sutaro didn't feel the joy. The ground vibrated non-stop, and the shock wave stirred up tens of thousands of feet of dust. The shock wave affected the surrounding terrain, and the crack in the abyss seemed like a canyon. It's just a group of cloud ninjas. It's okay to jump around in front of him. But this feeling, Lu Yun felt that the spiritual pressure and chakra in his body seemed to have changed, and at this moment his eyes left a bloodstain. The moment he opened his eyes again, those scarlet double Guyu sharing eyes were extremely evil. Is it double hook jade? Bang Yu is restless. The country of thunder. Cloud Ninja Village. A burly figure, the strength endowed by the bulging muscles all over the body is very terrifying. And in front of him was a cold corpse. The atmosphere gradually solidified, and the surrounding Cloud Ninja felt the cold killing intent on the fourth generation Reikage, and couldn't help but shudder. What happened to Darui's team? This is Lord Reikage's most trusted subordinate, and when they found Darui, it was already a corpse. Looking at the shrunken body of Darui at his feet, Ai's eyes were filled with endless anger. Who did it? Who the hell did it? How dare you attack the upper ninja of my Cloud Ninja village? Ai's angry roar spread throughout the entire Thunder Shadow Mansion. The suffocating aura erupting from that body made it hard to breathe. However, what surprised them the most was that the knives on Darui's body were all knives of Yun Nin. But all the corpses of Yunin were also with Darui. Could it be that the murderer wanted to fake Yunin to kill each other? This trick is too naive. At this moment, no one wanted to provoke Lei Ying, who was furious. Because they know that the current Reikage is a terrorist bomb that will explode at the first touch, if they say the wrong thing at this time. Will die. This time, I am afraid that the entire Thunder Kingdom will be shaken because of this, and Darui can be said to be Reikage's right-hand man. His mission this time is nothing more than to go out and look for Ikto Jinchuriki. With Darui's strength and team, even if he loses to Ichinchuriki, he won't die in the hands of Ichinchuriki. The key is these wounds. Except for Darui, the other ninjas had sharp wounds. It is obvious that the murderer who killed these Cloud Ninjas was a good swordsman, and the strength is also extremely terrifying, at least not something that ordinary Jonin can deal with. Do you use a knife? There are not a few people who use swords in the entire ninja world, but it is definitely not an ordinary person to have such superb sword skills. Your Excellency Thunder Shadow. If it's a murderer with a sword, Konoha's Hokage assistant seems to be a genius with swordsmanship. Also, in recent days we have been unable to get in touch with the ninjas on the border of the Land of Fire. Could it be? A cold light appeared in Ai's eyes. Could it be that Konoha village did it? Azabui contacted the 5th Hokage of Konoha village and said that I want to visit Konoha Ninja village. Ai gritted his teeth and emphasized the following words. The Land of Fire, Konoha Ninja village. After Tsunade received Ai's call, he immediately held a high-level Hokage meeting. What do you all think that Reikage is going to visit us Konoha? Mitomanyan frowned. That guy Reikage is not easy to mess with. What are they doing to visit Konoha? The visitor is not good. Although Zhuanju Shaochun has some opinions on Tsunade because of what happened last time, but this is a matter related to Ying, and she should put aside her prejudices. Tsunade, has there been any friction between the village and Yunin recently? Or maybe there is a conflict between the mission and Cloud Ninja. Task. There may be a possibility of a Cloud Ninja conflict in the A-level mission of the Kingdom of Stuffing. The mission of the Kingdom of Stuffing. Isn't the Kingdom of Meat an ally of the Kingdom of Thunder? How could you entrust them with the Kingdom of Fire? Who took the mission of the Kingdom of Stuffing? Lu Yun. The higher-ups of Hokage were stunned. Lu Yun, a Hokage assistant, went to pick up the mission by himself. The key is, shouldn't you, a Hokage assistant, stay by Hokage's side? Tsunade, you are too relaxed with Lu Yun. He's the assistant Hokage. Cut. Tsunade pouted. If you don't let that kid follow you, should you let him stay in Anbu? It is estimated that Anbu will be turned upside down by that kid. Recently, Danzo seems to have calmed down, and all the members of the route have been absorbed into Anbu. Of course, Tsunade is not completely relieved of those people at the root level. You must know that some people at the root level have been brainwashed by Danzo. On the surface, it seems loyal to Hokage, but in fact it is towards Danzo. However, as long as Konoha has Lu Yun around, even Danzo can't make any big waves. Tsunade has a plan. After he takes the position of Hokage for a few years, the next Hokage will let Lu Yun take the position of Hokage. But who knows that Kid Lu Yun is not interested at all, thinking that Hokage's position is troublesome. Although Tsunade thinks the same way, none of the young ninjas in the village are fighting for Hokage's position. This kid is still special enough. Has Lu Yun returned to the village now? After turning to bed, Xiaochun asked. Tsunade shook his head. There is no news of Lu Yun and Naruto returning to the village yet. Turning to bed, Koharu rubbed his brows with a headache. Since Tsunade took this position, their position as Hokage consultant has almost become a decoration. Tsunade's identity itself is special, and it's not easy for them to put pressure on Tsunade. Tsunade's heart is really big enough for Assistant Hokage to take Kyuubi Jinchuriki out to perform missions. Raikage came to Konoha, and their collective Konoha executives were in a tense state. Once this news is released, the eyes of the other major powers will focus on Konoha village. Can't do it well. There is a high possibility that war will break out. Ding ding ding. The three figures are fighting in the desert, and every confrontation will set off a huge storm. The indifferent Junmaro held the Zanpakuto and faced Sasuke and Gaara with ease, and Junmaro became more and more comfortable with his newly acquired power. Sand time rain. Whoosh. Sharp sand bullets fell on Kamaro's head, and his feet were bound by Gaara. Bang, bang, bang. The sand bullets fell on Junmalu's body without causing any damage, and Junmalu, who has a steel skin, only had such a little sand bullets that had no effect on him. Cut. Gaara snapped angrily. Can't even break through the defense, is this still a human body? Junmalu exerted all his strength and easily broke free from the sand-bound coffin. At this moment, the figure of Sasuke appeared behind Junmaru at some unknown time. Fast printing. Chidori. A black lightning appeared on Sasuke's right hand, and the terrible electric current rubbed against each other, making a piercing sound like the chirping of thousands of birds. At this time, Sasuke, who has entered the state of the curse seal, is no less powerful than Jonin. Chidori belongs to the A-level ninjutsu, and it is black lightning in the state of the spell seal. Even the power of the ninja will turn pale. However, Kamaro had expected that Sasuke would attack him from behind. He could have easily dodged Sasuke's sneak attack, but Kamaro stretched out a palm. Boom. Zzzzzzzzzzzzzzz. Sasuke's expression changed instantly and he exclaimed in horror, "How is this possible? You actually blocked Chidori with your hands. Is this still human?" Sasuke didn't react. Junmaro grabbed his wrist and threw him hundreds of meters away. Very good. The power is simply fantastic. Junmalu let Gaara and Sasuke use all their strength to deal with themselves from the beginning. It's hard to imagine that Master Lu Yun's methods allowed him to possess such strength in such a short period of time. God. Junmalu once thought that Lu Yun was a godlike existence like a sage of the six paths. The kind of means that can create life, regenerate oneself and gain powerful power is definitely not something that ninjutsu can do. Pooh. In the distance, Sasuke crawled out from the sand pile with a resigned expression on his face. Hateful. Actually, unexpectedly, there was no strength to fight back. Itachi would be nothing if he had such power. But Lu Yun was not willing to let himself be transformed into this kind of posture like Junmalu. Is it too weak? Sasuke clenched his fists. But I said it would help me gain strength. Lu Yun, you big liar. Junmalu looked at Gaara and showed a smile. Are you still here? Gaara shook his head and spread his hands. Forget it, Sasuke and I are no match for you no matter what. There's no point in continuing to fight. It's a pointless battle. Junmalu looked at Gaara and smiled. If I'm not wrong, you should be hiding your strength. Gaara shuddered, and looked at Junmaro with some surprise. Even felt this. That's right. So, why not use your full strength? Gaara pointed to Sasuke who was walking from a distance. Do you want that guy to be hit? Junmalu touched his chin with interest after hearing this, and then glanced at Sasuke. It seems to be too. I don't know why Master Lu Yun often stimulates Sasuke. I heard that the evolution of Sharingan is related to strong emotions. Could it be that Lu Yun-sama wants Sasuke-kun's Sharingan to evolve? Feeling his own weakness, Sasuke walked over with a gloomy expression. At this time, he recalled everything that happened on the night of genocide and the embarrassing thing that happened to challenge Lu Yun. Weak. Too weak myself. The strong mood swings stimulated Sasuke's brain, and Junmaro who was on the side felt the strangeness of Sasuke's chakra and couldn't help but set his eyes on Sasuke. Oh, Junmaro looked into Sasuke's eyes unexpectedly. Sasuke's Scarlet Sharingan has another hook jade compared to before. Does Sangoyu write about sharing eyes? After Lu Yun, Naruto and the others submitted the task, many people in the village stared intently at the boxes of treasures on the cart. Brother, how do we divide these properties? Lu Yun glanced at Naruto, and took out a few crumpled banknotes from the opening. Take it. Ha! Naruto's eyes widened immediately, and he said angrily, Brother, you are kidding me. You gave me so much money for so many bounties, you are too dark. Lu Yun looked at Naruto indifferently. If you say one more word, I won't even give you this money. Naruto's momentum withered all of a sudden, and aggrievedly took the wrinkled banknotes and cursed Lu Yun in circles in his heart. Yo, you guys are really easy for me to find. When Naruto heard the familiar voice, the aggrieved expression on his face suddenly showed joy. A lecherous fairy. Jiraiya smiled and looked at Naruto and Lu Yun. Lu Yun looked at Zilai and nodded slightly. Lu Yunjin, Shaogang is looking for you. After you've dealt with these things, hurry up and go to Hokage Mansion. Tsunade looking for me. Isn't Tsunade asking me to help her with some documents again? Naruto wanted to complain to Zilai just now that Lu Yun was too dark, but he was dragged away by Zilai before he could react. Looking at the struggling Naruto in the distance, Lu Yun shook his head helplessly. After Lu Yun parked the carriage behind Hyuga's house, everyone in Hyuga's family looked at Lu Yun suspiciously. Lord Lu Yun, these are, Lu Yun said lightly, treasures of the kingdom of stuffing, you move all these things to my room. Yes, Lu Yun didn't care about the rest of the matter. As for whether these members of the Hyuga family would be greedy, it depended on whether they had the guts to take it. Although Lu Yun is not a member of the Hyuga family, his status in the current Hyuga family is second only to Hyuga Hyuzu. Hinata isn't here. Lu Yun pushed open the door of the dojo and found that there was no one in the dojo. Brother-in-law, sister, she is going out to perform a mission. A petite and exquisite figure appeared beside Lu Yun. A faint smile appeared on Lu Yun's face. It's Huahuo. Although it is said that Lu Yun and Hinata haven't held a wedding yet, judging from the attitude of the family and the attitude of their father, it is very likely that her sister's future husband will be Lu Yun. It's nothing to call brother-in-law at this time. Brother-in-law, has the kingdom of love been robbed by you? Why did you bring so many treasures back? Lu Yun's face darkened. What are you talking about? Do I look like that? Huahuo smiled. Just kidding. Brother-in-law, father has something to do with you, why don't you go over there? Oh, Rizu looking for me. Led by Huahuo, Lu Yun came to a room. She opened the door and shouted respectfully, My lord, I brought my brother-in-law. Well, thank you for your hard work, Huahuo. You go down first. Hanabi walked away obediently after closing the door. After sitting down, Lu Yun asked, Master Rizu, what can I do for you? Hinata Hyuzu looked at Lu Yun and said slowly, a few days ago, the 4th Raikage of Union Village contacted Hokage-sama, saying that he wanted to visit our Konoha village. Did you conflict with Yun Yin when you performed the mission of the Kingdom of Meat this time? Cage's visit, especially Reikage's irascible guy. I'm afraid Reikage's visit to Konoha will not be a good thing. Have. Lu Yun replied bluntly. Rizu's expression changed slightly, and then he sighed. Sure enough, there is still a conflict. After all, the Kingdom of Filling is an ally of the Kingdom of Thunder, and it is expected that Yunyin will be encountered during this mission. What about them? Hitoshi asked nervously. Died. Hit it. Rizu's heart trembled for it. Died. Sure enough, Reikage came to visit Konoha because of this matter. In fact, Hijuru misunderstood it. If Reikage knew that those people were dead, he might not have such a big reaction, although the Junin in every village is the backbone. But it's not enough to make Lei Ying so fanciful. If they knew that Darui was dead, the entire Konoha ninja would be covered in darkness. Because it is very likely that a war between the two countries will break out. Up to ninja, will those guys like Yun Nin let Konoha hand over Lu Yun, or compromise with the Hinata family who threatened them back then to force Konoha village? Rizu didn't have a good impression of Yun Nin and Lei Zhiguo. The incident of abducting Hinata was conspired by Lei Zhiguo, and Lei Zhiguo never admitted the abduction of Hinata. And also used this to attack Konoha and Hinata's family. In his opinion, the Land of Thunder is a bunch of despicable people. If the Land of Thunder really proposed such a condition, I am afraid that Lord 5th Hokage would not agree. Lu Yun is Konoha's Hokage assistant. If Konoha handed over Hokage assistant to the Thunder Kingdom, the entire ninja world would laugh at Konoha. Looking at Rizu's melancholy expression, Lu Yun couldn't help but fell into deep thought. I wants to visit Konoha. Thinking of that muscular man, his destructive power is not an exaggeration to be called a human-tailed beast. The matter of the Land of Stuffing should not have spread back to the Land of Thunder so quickly. Perhaps it was not because of this that I wanted to visit Muya village. Darui. Ha ha, maybe it is. So what if they knew? Do you still want to start a war against Konoha? Lu Yun was eager to do this. After leaving Hyuga's house, Lu Yun went to Hokage Mansion. When he arrived at the Hokage office, not only Tsunade was waiting for him, but the two Hokage consultants, Koharu and Mito Menyon, were also there. Assist Lu Yun, you are the assistant of Hokage, but you are not by Hokage's side to help Hokage deal with the affairs of the village. Bringing Nine Tails Jinchuriki to carry out the mission, and brought so much trouble to Konoha village. Konoha hasn't recovered from the Sahid incident last time, yet you have caused so much trouble for Konoha again. Turning to bed, Xiaochun stared at Lu Yun with deep eyes. Xiaochun. Mito Manyon tugged on Koharu's sleeve. At this time, I can't turn against Lu Yun. Lu Yun looked at Zhuanju Xiaochun with a gloomy gaze. Trouble. Does Lei Ying feel troublesome when he comes? Hehe. Konoha, as the former #1 ninja village, will be down and out, so it has nothing to do with you people. What do you mean? Turning to bed, Xiaochun stared at Lu Yun angrily. Lu Yun looked at Zhuan Xiaochun with disdain. If it weren't for him and Tsunade, it is estimated that Koharu might have compromised with Sand Shinobi. It is obvious that Konoha's reasoning is because Koharu is afraid of the outbreak of war, so he is so humble. Enough. Both consultants, go back first, and I will have a chat with Lu Yun alone. Tsunade's complexion is also very ugly, especially because he doesn't have any good feelings for Zhuanshu Koharu. Tsunade. Turning to bed, Koharu looked at Tsunade with gloomy eyes. Tsunade's cold eyes touched the two of them, and Koharu gritted his teeth and left angrily. Mito Minyan could only sigh weakly and leave Hokage's office. Tsunade rubbed his brow with a headache. Anyway, they are old people, so you should be more polite to them. Tsunade's tone was a little helpless. Lu Yun found a seat and sat down, crossing his legs. Just because they're old I'm being polite to them. If they are just relying on their age, they might as well retire from the position of Naruto advisor. Lu Yun said mercilessly. Hey, the village that Grandpa built by himself did not expect to end up in such a state. Tsunade got up and sat next to Lu Yun. The moment Lu Yun came into view, the huge peaks and mountains were bumpy in ups and downs. Is there really such a Q-bomb? Lu Yun averted his gaze. This woman Tsunade is indeed fierce. What do you think of Reikage's visit to Konoha? Tsunade looked at Lu Yun and asked. How else can we look at it? Since he is here to visit Konoha, we should treat him with the etiquette of a guest. If he is looking for work, then Konoha will accompany him to the end. Tsunade glared at Lu Yun angrily. You said easy, but that's Reikage, who broke Hachio's left corner when he was young. The old woman is right, the current Konoha cannot stand the torment. This is also a headache for Tsunade, the position of Hokage is simply troublesome. It's better to let her stay in the casino for the rest of her life. Speaking of which, she hadn't been to the casino for several days since she took the position of Hokage, and she was almost overwhelmed. Isn't it Lei Ying? Don't worry too much, the old lady, Konoha won't have any problems if I'm here. Lu Yun patted Tsunade on the shoulder and said old-fashionedly. Tsunade's face became stiff and gradually deepened. Who are you calling an old woman, brat? Lu Yun glanced at Tsunade. You are not considered an old woman at this age, but you can be considered an aunt. There is a limit to Tsunade's patience, she threw out a punch without warning. With a sound of boom, there was a roar like a cannonball, and Tsunade's punch shook the entire Hokage mansion. But Lu Yun didn't hide. Tsunade's punch seemed to hit some kind of hard board. Looking at the transparent wall in front of him, Tsunade frowned and asked, Boy, what is this? A defensive wall, Lu Yun said. Defensive wall? Is it ninjutsu? But this kid didn't seal it either. There are so many weird things about this little devil. Forget it, your kid said so. When Reikage comes, you will be by my side. I want to see what purpose Reikage has for Konoha. What purpose can there be, isn't it just asking for guilt? Lu Yun complained in his heart. When Lu Yun returned home, his consciousness entered the spiritual space. Aizen Soyusuke, the most charming villain in the world of Grim Reaper, resourceful and powerful, is the most beloved villain in Grim Reaper's work. Lu Yun always felt that Aizen's ending was too hasty, just like what Kurosaki Ichigo said in the original book. Could it be that Aizen wanted to lose his power? Standing in the sky is lonely. From birth, he is pretentious and surpasses ordinary people. No one can match him. Such a road to invincibility is also a road to loneliness. When the template of your own blue die reaches 100%, will the blue die be projected? Forget it, why bother to think so much? Fighting with such characters is also a good training. In this way, for 3 days and 3 nights, Lu Yun was always in his own spiritual world. At the same time, there were countless people around Lu Yun's bed in the outside world, and their eyes revealed worry. Especially Hinata's tightly clasped fingers. Boom. At this moment, everyone felt their bodies sink. Not only Lu Yun's room but the whole Konoha was enveloped by this pressure. Kakashi, Maidkai and others in the room almost fell to their knees. What is this pressure? Did it emanate from Lu Yun's body? What a heavy pressure, it seems that the soul is shaking. The spiritual pressure erupting from Lu Yun's body was heavier than before, which also showed that Lu Yun's strength had improved again. Hinata looked at Lu Yun worriedly. Lu Yunjin. The next moment, Lu Yun opened his eyes, and the excitement and passion for fighting in those eyes did not fade at all. As expected of Aizen, only Aizen in the spiritual space can bring him this feeling of meeting his opponent. Why are you here? Only then did Lu Yun realize that many people had gathered in his room. Hinata threw herself into Lu Yun's arms all of a sudden. Mr. Lu Yun. Hearing the girl's weeping voice, Lu Yun couldn't help feeling a little distressed. Ino and Sakura watched this scene enviously. I really envy Hinata. When will they have a boy like Lu Yun? Lu Yun, what was the pressure that erupted on you just now? Kakashi asked solemnly. Lu Yun frowned. Pressure. Was Kakashi talking about Reiatsu? Could it be that the spiritual pressure was out of control just now? It's just a special ability. Lu Yun said lightly. Another ability. How many tricks Lu Yun has hidden. Even if Lu Yun is from Muya village, Kakashi still feels terrible. Lu Yunjin, you have been sitting here for 3 days and 3 nights. Hinata raised her head with reddish eyes and looked at Lu Yun. 3 days and nights. Lu Yun was stunned. It has been 3 days since I fought Aizen in the mental space. No wonder these people looked at themselves so worriedly. Lu Yun stroked Hinata's head. Don't worry, I'm fine. Everyone go back, I'm fine. Except for Kakashi, who took a deep look. The rest of the people also left after talking to Lu Yun. Lu Yun looked at Hinata tenderly, hugged Hinata into his arms and said softly, I made you worry, Hinata. Lu Yunjin, you have meditated for too long this time. Hinata is worried about you. There were still tear stains on the edge of Hinata's eye sockets. Lu Yun wiped away those tear stains with his hands. It's been a while, but I've gained a lot. Next time, I won't worry you anymore. Hinata gave a soft N, and enjoyed the short and beautiful moment. In addition to Reikage's visit to Konoha, a major event also happened in Hidden Sand Village. It is impossible for the shadow of Cheyenne Village to remain vacant all the time. Right now, Renjuli has betrayed the village again, and the situation of the entire Cheyenne Village is a bit unstable. At this time, someone must take Feng Ying's position to stabilize the current situation. Under the persuasion of the top officials of Sand Hidden and the Country of Wind, Grandma Chio finally agreed to serve as the fifth Cage. After the news that Grandma Chio was succeeding the fifth Cage came to Konoha, even Luyan couldn't help being a little surprised. It turned out to be that old woman who took the position of the fifth Cage. It seems that the Hidden Sand Village is really no longer available. Chio is the fifth Cage. It's really interesting. Isn't Sha Yin Village afraid of that old guy, who belched after a few years in office? Lu Yun looked disdainful. Of the 5 great ninja villages, Sha Yin Village is the weakest. To be honest, Lu Yun doesn't understand why Sha Yin Village is one of the 5 great ninja villages. Is it because the overall national strength is stronger than other small countries? Not only is the environment in Yinsha Village harsh, but there are also very few people in the village. At this time, in order to stabilize the situation in Yinsha Village, a person who was about to enter the soil was elected as Cage. By the way, the compensation for Hidden Sand Village should be sent to Konoha soon. This time, the compensation for Hidden Sand Village can be said to be a hemorrhage. Not all the villagers in Yinsha Village have voices of opposition, but is it useful to oppose it? Is their Hidden Sand Village qualified to negotiate terms with Konoha? The reason why Sha Yin Village dared to negotiate with Konoha was because of the weakness of Konoha's senior management. But now there are 2 powerful people like Tsunade and Lu Yun in Konoha Village, want to gain benefits from Konoha Village. That is wishful thinking. The news that Reikage is going to visit Konoha has aroused great attention from the Land of Earth and the Land of Wind. As for the Land of Water, it is guarding its own third of the field and has not yet taken any action. What is Reikage's visit to Konoha? This is what the major countries want to know. Konoha and Union are almost sworn enemies. Visiting Konoha during this special period is hard to figure out. The Akatsuki organization has also been noticed by the 5 great ninja villages, and the organization that captures the tailed beast will naturally attract the attention of the 5 great nations. The tailed beast is a war machine that can affect the balance of the ninja world, and now Sand Hidden Village is worried that Gaara will encounter this Akatsuki organization that captures the tailed beast. If this is the case, the strength of their Kingdom of the Wind will be greatly weakened again. In that case, they have no way to argue with the other big countries. About 3 days later, Reikage had arrived in the Land of Fire. And Tsunade also held another high-level meeting to deal with Reikage. Anbu also monitors the movements of Reikage Village at any time, in order to avoid unexpected accidents and unnecessary situations. And this high-level meeting, Lu Yun did not show up. At the beginning, Ching Kaharu was a little dissatisfied and wanted to argue with Tsunade, but in the end Tsunade suppressed him forcefully. Hinata Hijuru also sighed helplessly in his heart, although Tsunade's actions were a little inappropriate, but Konoha finally had a strong Hokage. At the same time, the original root base is empty and dark around. Danzo looked at a place alone in the base, as if waiting for someone to arrive. The surrounding space suddenly twisted into a whirlpool, and a black dot and figure appeared in front of Danzo. Uchiha Obito. Even Lu Yun would be surprised to see Danzo being connected with Obito Uchiha. Next, let's talk about it. The moment the scarlet light appeared in Obito, the temperature of the entire base dropped accordingly. And even if Danzo had the heart to cooperate with Obito, he still didn't let go of his vigilance. After all, the person in front of him is the legendary Uchiha Madara. Although I don't know if it's true or not, those eyes are undoubtedly kaleidoscope Sharingan. Tsunade, since you are not benevolent, don't blame me for being unrighteous. Although the ninjas in Anbu monitor Danzo, they will not enter the base. They are all guarding the entrance. None of them knew what happened inside. At this time, Lu Yun was not far from the root base, and when he was leaving, he suddenly stopped. This breath is Uchiha Obito. Danzo, hey, what the hell are these two going to do? Danzo, sure enough, you are still forced to get in touch with a guy like Obito. The position of Hokage is not suitable for you. In fact, when Tsunade disbanded the Roots, Luyan expected that Danzo might do something desperate because Tsunade forced him into a corner. Cooperating with Obito, does Danzo want to operate in the dark when pain invades Konoha? Although Luyan knew that Danzo and Obito were connected, he didn't want to stop it. He wants to see what Danzo wants to do. A day later, Raikage arrived at Konoha. And the whole Konoha village seems to have a heavy atmosphere. Because Lei Ying brought a coffin. A shadow came to Konoha with a coffin, such a behavior has to arouse people's daydream. At this time, in the reception hall of Hokage's senior management, Tsunade looked at the coffin in front of him with an extremely ugly expression and asked gloomily, Raikage, what do you mean? Yi couldn't see any expression on his face. He glanced at Ma Buyi and said, Ma Buyi, open the coffin. Thunder Shadow. Don't go too far. Tsunade's angry roar echoed throughout the reception hall, and the atmosphere in the entire hall at this time gave people a feeling that the sword was about to pull out the sky at any time. Raikage, it's fine to visit Konoha. But what does he mean by bringing a coffin? Kakashi on the side frowned, feeling a bad premonition in his heart. The moment the coffin was opened, the expressions of everyone on Konoha's side changed. The man lying in the coffin is. It turned out to be Darui. As the man known as Raikage's second right hand, few people in the ninja world do not know Darui. And Darui is Raikage's most loyal subordinate. Such a guy was actually lying in a cold coffin. Hit it. The moment Tsunade saw the corpse, Tsunade's heart trembled, as if the body had been stabbed by a sword. Could it be that kid Luyan did it? At this time, Luyan was still on his way slowly. Even if Tsunade felt a little unfounded in her heart, as Hokage, she couldn't show any flaws at this time. Lei Ying, what do you mean? Tsunade asked grimly. Raikage didn't speak, but his secretary explained the whole incident. After Mabui finished speaking, the faces of Konoha's people were already ugly. Lei Ying, it's a bit too much for you to do this. You doubt our Konoha's Hokage assistant just based on the injuries on your body. Do you really think our Konoha is easy to bully? After finishing speaking, Tsunade's aura as Hokage was revealed at once. Even I couldn't help being a little surprised. At the beginning, Yui still had some disdain for Konoha's fifth Hokage being a woman. But now it seems that this woman is not simple. Yui's hands were crossed, and an icy light flashed in her eyes. Let's not mention this matter for the time being. How do you Konoha explain the matter of the Kingdom of Stuffing? Our Union Village has lost one of 3 Zongnin, 1 upper nin and 1 lower nin. You Konoha, don't say that this has nothing to do with you. Tsunade was speechless for a moment, but at this moment a young figure pushed the door and appeared in the eyes of everyone. The young man glanced at Lei Ying, and said lightly, I killed the man. Luyan. All eyes immediately focused on Luyan. As for the people on Konoha's side, their faces became extremely horrified. The person was killed by Luyan. The key is that Luyan killed it. Why did Luyan admit it directly? Even Tsunade's brain was buzzing blank at this time. What kind of tricks is this little devil doing? Zhuanqing Xiaochun was trembling with anger, looking at Luyan full of resentment. Really, Luyan staying in Konoha is a disaster. He will bring disaster to Konoha. At this time, Xiaochun had already forgotten about Luyan saving Konoha, and now she only had anger and hatred towards Luyan. The ninjas in Yunnan village all looked at Luyan involuntarily. Yui looked at Luyan with slightly narrowed eyes. This is Konoha's swordsmanship genius. Naruto assistant. What? Nothing more than that. There was a sneering smile on the corner of Yui's mouth. It seems that Muya village has really declined to this point, and the former #1 ninja village in the ninja world has fallen into this appearance. This kid has the strength to defeat Kazuo. Yui doesn't think so. Although the harmless smile on this kid's face gave people a creepy feeling, but it gave him the feeling of a weak scholar. The news of Konoha's genius only came from Konoha. As for the hidden sand village, it's just the weakest ninja village. To be honest, Raikage doesn't even care about hidden sand village. As for what ninja village said, it lacked some authenticity. Not to mention that the 5th cage is still an old guy with half a foot buried in the ground. If the environment of Hidden Sand Village is not bad enough to be worth plundering, I am afraid that several major countries have already launched wars against Hidden Sand Village. As expected of a genius, it's still a responsibility. The kid is just going to be angry with you, the old man approves of you. However, I am a ninja in Union Village, should you give me an explanation? Yi Yi stared at Lu Yun with deep eyes. Lu Yun smiled lightly. Is there anything to explain? It's you Yun Nin who wanted to attack me, so I can't fight back. Your Kingdom of Thunder is one of the 5 great nations, and the Kingdom of Thieves is clearly an ally with you. You have been struggling for a week and haven't waited for reinforcements from the Kingdom of Thunder. In desperation, we turn to Muya Village for help. What is the reputation of your country of thunder as a big country? Your Cloud Ninja team just took a fancy to the treasures given by the Kingdom of Stuffing and became greedy. Are you only allowed to do it? Can't I fight back? In an instant, the hall became much quieter, and everyone looked at Lu Yun dumbfounded. Even Tsunade didn't expect Lu Yun's mouth to be so eloquent. But it's just his one-sided words, how could Yun Nin give up just like that? Raikage must have come in person to take something from Konoha. This kid might anger Lei Ying. Yi Yi's face had become extremely gloomy at this time, and he looked at Lu Yun with a dark face. Those violent eyes gave people the impression of a ferocious beast. Yi Yi gritted her teeth. You brat with sharp teeth, who do you think is the Cloud Ninja of our village? You are deliberately slandering. Deliberately slander. Lu Yun smiled contemptuously. I'm full and have nothing to do to slander you Yunin. After all, there is no proof now. Just tell me what you Cloud Ninja want to do, it will save both of us from wasting time. If we want to start a war, we Konoha will accompany you to the end. Tsunade's face suddenly changed. Hey, Lu Yun, war is not something you just talk about casually. Even the way Kakashi and Maidkai looked at Lu Yun changed a lot. Sure enough, he was still too young and impulsive. But if they were not impulsive, they would find Lu Yun a little strange, and Kakashi's guard against Lu Yun suddenly relaxed a lot at this time. Yui was stunned for a while, and then couldn't help but sneered. Hokage, is he the Hokage or you the Hokage? Why do I feel that your Hokage assistants are not like assistants? Tsunade took Lu Yun's hand and pulled Lu Yun aside, and the two chatted in a low voice. What the hell are you doing, kid? The word war is not something you can say casually. Union Village is not Cheyenne Village, it's not something we can scare away. Lu Yun glanced at Tsunade and said slowly, Tsunade, it's time for Konoha to make a change. It's time to let the ninja world know that the name of one ninja village has always been on Konoha's head. With me in Konoha, I have always been the #1 ninja village. You. Tsunade stared blankly at the young man in front of him, his eyes revealed the confidence and gaze overlooking all living beings. This brat, it's true, choose to believe. Tsunade hesitated. Now, as the shadow of a village, he can't make decisions casually, and Tsunade has experienced such things as war. Once a war breaks out, it will be a disaster for the villagers of Konoha. But looking at Lu Yun somehow gave people a particularly reassuring feeling. This kid, he should be the 5th Hokage's seat. Raikage, what is your purpose for coming to Konoha this time? Tsunade looked at Yui with gloomy eyes. Yui grinned grinningly. I want this kid to go back to the Land of Thunder with me. This is impossible. Tsunade flatly refused. Lu Yun is Konoha's Hokage assistant, how could he go to the Land of Thunder at will? And once he went to the Land of Thunder, Lu Yun would have to let others slaughter him. The cold light in Yui's eyes did not diminish at all, and she threatened, Hokage, are you going to protect this kid? It's not patronizing. Lu Yun is right, who knows if Yun Nin did it first. Leaving aside this matter for now, you have already offended us by bringing the coffin to Konoha. What does Darui's death have to do with Konoha? Based on the injury alone, you are too overbearing. Tsunade's strength surprised Yui. This Hokage didn't look like the old man of the previous 3 generations, so he was really anxious. Yui was using the topic to play this time, but Darui's death was still unclear. Then do you Konoha want to start a war? Yui's domineering aura erupted suddenly, and the atmosphere in the whole hall became very oppressive. Starting a war, Lu Yun stood up at this moment, and said with a contemptuous smile, your Kingdom of Thunder is also worthy. Your country of thunder is also worthy. Everyone was stunned, Even the people in Yun stood there dumbfounded. Did they hear it wrong? Yaoi was stunned. Is this the weak Konoha he knew? To be honest, Yaoi has long put Muya village in his eyes, and the former number 1 ninja village is just what it used to be. Now Union Village is the most powerful ninja village in the ninja world. This time Yaoi came to attack Konoha, the ninjas lurking on the border of Konoha and the Cloud Ninja team he sent out to perform tasks. In Lu Yun's hands, he couldn't just die in vain, although there is no evidence that Darui's death was killed by the Konoha ninja. But just relying on Lu Yun's previous confession to kill Yun Nin's Jonin and the others are enough to attack Konoha. Yaoi wanted to gnaw off a piece of meat from Konoha's body, but he didn't expect that the current situation was beyond his expectation. Lu Yun, what are you talking about? Lord Lei Ying may forgive Lu Yun for talking nonsense while he was ill. Kakashi hurriedly explained. This is rakeage. If it is not handled well now, war may break out. Kakashi, Lu Yun is normal, what he said is like what I said. He's right, your Kingdom of Thunder doesn't have that qualification. Just taking a coffin to attack Konoha just based on the fact that there is nothing, is this what Yun Nin said? It's really funny. A cold smile appeared on Tsunade's face. At this point, Tsunade still chooses to believe in Lu Yun. Konoha has been suppressed for too long, and it is because of blindly retreating that other ninja villages feel that Konoha is easy to bully. Konoha should let the entire ninja world know that even though it has weakened, Konoha Yuka's, who was once the number 1 ninja village, is still there. Master Hokage. Kakashi was stunned. Why even Hokage-sama is messing around with him? You must know that once a war breaks out between the Land of Lightning and the Land of Fire, it will not be a simple war between the two countries, and it may trigger the 4th Ninja World War. What exactly did Hokage-sama and Lu Yun say just now? Enough, Tsunade. As Hokage, you are too nonsense. Turning to bed, Kaharu stared at Lu Yun and Tsunade angrily. Tsunade stared coldly at Xuan Shaochun. Anbu, send Elder Xiaoharu out. Tsunade, you dare to touch me. I dare to play the position of Hokage. However, Tsunade didn't even bother to turn to Kaharu. After Xiaochun was sent away, the atmosphere in the hall became even more heavy. Yaoi's face was so black that it seemed to be dripping ink. Hokage, I'll give you a chance to take back what you just said. As long as you apologize, I'll treat it as if it never happened. No need, Yunin is such a bully, you still want Konoha to apologize. Don't even think about it. Tsunade said forcefully. Boom, an unrivaled momentum erupted from Yaoi's body, and the silver arc on his body exploded indirectly, especially the moment his hair stood on end. Lu Yun thought he was going to transform into a Super Saiyan. What a Konoha. It seems that you Konoha really still want to go your own way. Is it true that those idiots in our Land of Thunder and Hidden Sand Village are frightened? Yaoi's voice was like a roaring lion, and it looked extremely sturdy. Thunder Shadow, do you want to know who killed Darui? At this time Lu Yun said something again. Even Tsunade panicked at this moment. Brat, stop talking. The eyes of everyone on Yun Ren's side changed, and Yi's eyes became particularly gloomy. Boy, do you know who killed Darui? If you know the murderer, I can consider letting you go. The corner of Lu Yun's mouth was curved, and he slowly drew out the Zanpakutao. Most of the people didn't understand what Lu Yun was doing about this action, especially Kakashi and Madokai became nervous. Flowers in the mirror and moon in the water. Lu Yun muttered softly, then turned his gaze to Yi with sarcasm in his eyes. Your subordinates, I used this knife to kill them. The smile on Lu Yun's face looked extremely serious, giving the impression that he was a monster that could eat people. The complexions of Yunin changed drastically, and Mabuyi looked at Lu Yun in horror. Madman, totally crazy. Does Assistant Hokage know what it means to say this sentence? Regardless of whether this is true or not, as long as this is said, the situation will be irreversible. A few words also appeared in everyone's head. War, coming soon. A suffocating aura erupted from Yi's body, and a terrifying thunderlight erupted from that sturdy body. The next moment he came in front of Lu Yun at an extremely fast speed, and this move was intended to kill Lu Yun. This moment happened so fast that no one could react. Phew, that spear-like palm pierced through Lu Yun's chest, and the blood splattered all around. This scene made everyone's expressions extremely horrified. Yaoi frowned, and the assistant Hokage didn't respond at all. It seems that the news from Konoha is all fake. This is the strength of a mere Hokage assistant. Can you still defeat the tailed beast? Ridiculous. Mabuyi's face turned pale all of a sudden, and he pointed at Yaoi with trembling fingers. Hope, Lord Raikage, what are you doing? Mabuyi screamed in horror. Hit it. Yaoi raised his head with difficulty, looked at the familiar face in front of him and the puzzled eyes, his head went blank and he stopped thinking in a daze. Rain Shadow. Boss. She fell back heavily on the ground. He didn't understand why Boss Lei Ying wanted to kill him. With this last doubt, she turned into a cold corpse. The real Lu Yun sneered on the sidelines. Darui is called Raikage's right hand, and she is Raikage's left hand. He just wanted to break Raikage's arms. Yaoi's brain was blank at this moment, looking at Zai's corpse lying on the ground in a daze. The ninjas of Union Village and Konoha's ninjas stared blankly at this scene. Lei Ying crazy. This she is the ninja in their village. It is said that he is still a capable general under Lei Ying, but even so, Lei Ying dared to kill this so-called capable general in front of everyone suddenly. Tsunade couldn't help looking at Lu Yun in horror. What the hell did this little fool do? Tsunade also learned from Jiraiya that Lu Yun can even use illusion techniques, which Lu Yun has never shown in front of ordinary people. Turning around the people organized by Akatsuki, such an illusion is simply chilling. Hope. No. Yaoi roared in grief and anger, and a terrifying thunder tunnel chakra erupted from his body. The terrifying air wave erupted from his body, causing the expressions of everyone present to change. His eyes were bloodshot, as if he was looking at Lu Yun ferociously like a beast that wanted to devour everything. Little devil, what did you do to me? The roar of Yaoi shocked all the ninjas. His angry eyes were filled with endless flames, as if he wanted to tear Lu Yun to shreds. Lu Yun smiled lightly. It's just an illusion. If it weren't for the illusion, the person who died now would probably be me. Illusion. Mabuyi's pupils shrank suddenly, and everyone on Yunren's side looked at Lu Yun angrily. No wonder Lord Raikage suddenly attacked Shi. Hope. Just like that, he died in the hands of Your Excellency Raikage. That puzzled gaze and unbelievable expression appeared in Yaoi's mind one after another. Brat. Old man. This old man is going to kill you. Now Mabui finally understands why Darui has a cloud ninja blade on his body. It is probably the same as Raikage, who has been enchanted by the illusion. The rest of the ninjas regard Darui as Lu Yun. What kind of illusion is this? I have never heard of such an illusion. When this illusion was activated, even Yuhihong, who is proficient in illusion, is not clear. So horrible. Konoha's eagle eye. Lu Yun smiled sarcastically. Are you sure the me you will see later is the real me? Yaoi's pupils instantly shrank into needlepoints, and he gritted his teeth so hard that a trace of blood spilled from the corner of his mouth. You Konoha, do you really want to start a war? He never thought that he would be so afraid of a kid from Konoha. Konoha, a monster has appeared. Starting a war. We never thought about it, but you Yunnin are unreasonable. If they hadn't taken the lead in attacking me, they wouldn't have died in my hands. Everything is just their own fault. Lu Yun's voice echoed in the hall. The eyes of Konoha and the Jonin looking at Lu Yun changed in an instant. The Lu Yun in front of them was the Lu Yun they had never seen before. Once the disguise of a weak scholar was torn apart. It feels as if everything is in Lu Yun's hands. Fortunately, Lu Yun belongs to their Konoha side. If it's from other villages, it's not just Konoha's nightmare, but the lingering nightmare of the other 4 major villages. Tsunade now finally understands why Lu Yun is so confident. Even Raikage would not dare to act rashly with such an illusion technique. Yaoi was speechless for a while. I wanted to come to Konoha because I wanted to gnaw off a piece of meat from Konoha's body, but the meat didn't reach me, but I lost my left hand and right arm. The positions of Shi and Darui are of great significance to Yaoi, they are both excellent subordinates. Your Excellency Thunder Shadow. Ma Buyi leaned over, looked at Lu Yun with fear, and whispered something in Yaoi's ear. After hearing what Mabuyi said, Yaoi's irritable mood gradually stabilized. At this time, if they were not sure what happened, they didn't find out when they had used the illusion. If they fought with Konoha's ninjas at this time, they would suffer the most losses. A small leak will sink a great ship. Mabui is Raikage's secretary and Raikage's military advisor. At this time, Raikage must not be impulsive. He is the shadow of a village and must manage his emotions well. This young man who seems to be no more than 10 years old, the city is so deep. When he met Lu Yun's gaze, Mabui lost his mind for a short while. What kind of eyes are those? Hawkeye. No, abyss. The endless abyss, the abyss with no end in sight. HMPH. Konoha, let's wait and see, I won't let you go. Boy, Yi Yi looked at Lu Yun ferociously, and everyone in Union Village dropped their cold eyes. After taking Zai's body away, Yi Yi's heart aches every time she sees Zai's cold corpse. After all the Cloud Ninjas left, the eyes of Tsunade, Kakashi and the other Jonin all turned to Lu Yun. The hall was eerily quiet for a while, but everyone was aware of a problem. Raikage may really launch a war against the Land of Fire when he goes back this time, and the war between the two countries may also become the Fourth Ninja World War. They didn't understand why Hokage-sama was messing around with Lu Yun, but the other four countries had always been eyeing Konoha. After several ninja world wars, all four countries jointly launched wars against Konoha. Konoha's geographical location and environment have always been the favorites in the eyes of other big countries. Little Ghost, there is no chance to turn back this time. Tsunade turned his head with a serious face. You should understand what will happen next, right? All the Junin nodded solemnly. The outbreak of war is inevitable. But this war came too suddenly, it was completely initiated by Konoha's side. Little Ghost, can you tell us now what your illusion ability actually affects? Why did Raikage kill his beloved subordinate? Tsunade looked at Lu Yun deeply. Lu Yun glanced at everyone in the hall and said slowly. 5 senses. My illusion is to fully grasp the 5 senses of the other party, so that the other party's appearance, shape, quality, touch, and even smell are completely believed to be what I want. Completely master the illusion of the 5 senses. Is this still an illusion? No wonder Lei Ying suddenly attacked Shi. He regarded Shi as Lu Yun. This ability is truly terrifying. Lu Yun felt that there was no need to conceal his ability, because no one present knew that he had fallen into the hypnosis of the mirror. If he wants, he can completely control the entire high-level Konoha. What a terrible ability. A few days later, the Kingdom of Thunder invited the other 4 major nations to come to the Kingdom of Thunder to discuss the joint war against the Nation of Fire. So far, the entire ninja world has been shaken by this. Obito, war is about to break out. Ju slowly rose up from the ground. War, Konoha, how dare you have the guts? Obito's figure was full of disdain for Konoha. Yes, how could Konoha have such guts? The current Konoha is not the powerful Konoha it is today. Moreover, Mr. Konoha's aggressive behavior is unimaginable, and the outbreak of the war also disrupted the plan of Zeihei Obito. At present, they have collected the chakras of 4-tailed beasts for the first time, and it is not a bit short of resurrecting the heretic golem. The 4th Ninja War. It seems that it is also time for the Akatsuki organization to show its strength to the entire ninja world. Danzo is really a lucky guy to have such an unpredictable thing happen at this time. But, the position of Naruto, I am afraid that Danzo will not be able to do it in this life. Because of Konoha, will cease to exist, and their plans will continue. It is not so easy to break out of war. It is tantamount to achieving mutual trust between several major powers. All major powers have ulterior motives. It is precisely because of this that wars frequently break out in the ninja world. The most worrying thing now is the small countries in the ninja world. The big countries fight for the front and the small countries suffer. After several ninja wars, the small countries have been reduced to battlefields, and they have no ability to resist. Konoha, why did it suddenly become so powerful, and the Kingdom of Meat, which was planning to sign an alliance with the Kingdom of Fire a few days ago, immediately recalled the envoy. They don't want to be brought into the flames of war by Konoha. This is the reality. If the Kingdom of Thunder invites them to intervene in the war, they will not hesitate even to attack Lu Yun and Naruto. In just a few months, the thunder in the Land of Thunder has been loud, but the sound in the entire ninja world is very small. It seems that the horizontal and vertical negotiations of the other 4 countries are not going well. It is said that Raikage and Tukage had a quarrel, and the meeting broke up unhappy and could not go on. In the past few months, the wind in Konoha has also calmed down a little, and the voices of dissatisfaction with Lu Yun have gradually subsided. Lu Yun still overestimated the tolerance between the four major powers, so he still wants to jointly crusade against Konoha. Don't even think about it. When the four major powers jointly attack Konoha, it will turn into a war between the four major powers. Character template. Aizen Soyusuke. Character unlock progress. 40%. After many fights with Lan Ran in the spiritual space, Lu Yun's progress has also reached 40%. Not only that, this is just the improvement of the character template, the current Lu Yun has changed from before. His whole body reveals an aura that is different from ordinary people. This feeling is different from ordinary people. It seems that Lu Yun is like a fairy who does not eat fireworks in the world. The original bronze-colored skin has also become much whiter and tenderer, but Lu Yun does not want to become a monster like Aizen, who is neither human nor ghost in his final evolution. He also believed that Bengyu would be different after he perfected it. Lu Yunjin. Hinata trotted over with strides. And when Lu Yun saw Hinata, his brows frowned involuntarily. The chakra on Hinata seems to be different. Hinata, did something happen to you? Lu Yun asked. Hinata showed a surprised expression. She just wanted to tell Lu Yun about this matter this time. Lu Yunjin, you even know this? Hinata said in surprise. Lu Yunjin, an old man appeared in my dream last night. The old man claimed to be Atsuki Yukin and said that he was the younger brother of the legendary immortal of the Six Paths. In the dream, the old man told me, maybe Lu Yunjin, you can end this war-torn ninja world. Otsutsuki Hamura. No wonder the chakra on Hinata's body has become wrong. It turned out to be the chakra of the Otsutsuki clan. Sure enough, even Otsutsuki Hamura is watching the ninja world. The sage of the Six Paths Otsutsuki Hiromo has been watching the entire ninja world, not knowing when he will meet this legendary character. Chakra of Atsuki. Looking at Hinata's strange eyes, Lu Yun couldn't help but smile. Tenseiken may be born. Lu Yunjin, what are you laughing at? Hinata asked, puzzled. Lu Yun rubbed Hinata's little head and said with a smile, it's nothing, the old man is a bit perceptive. Hinata. At the same time, in a large and spacious place in Konoha village, this place is dedicated to Jiraiya training Naruto to practice. Lustful immortal, what shall we practice today? Naruto asked curiously. The expression on Jiraiya's face was much more serious than before. Naruto, this training is different from the past. You have to control the chakra of 9 tails. 9 tails. Naruto looked puzzled. Jiraiya pointed at Naruto's abdomen. It's the monster inside your body. Naruto's expression changed instantly and he understood. Lust, what is the monster in my body? People in the village say that I am a demon fox. Is it related to it? Click. Hearing the word Yahoo, Jiraiya felt a twinge of pain in his heart, and he looked at Naruto with a little more guilt. This child experienced too much unfair treatment at that innocent age. Fortunately, it is said that after Lu Yun and Naruto became friends, their personality gradually became more cheerful. Obviously it was the 4th Hokage who saved the village, but the people in the village regarded Naruto as Jinchuriki as the source of the disaster. It is estimated that other than Naruto's character, if it were someone else, it would have already been blackened. Jiraiya also explained Kyuubi to Naruto. Tailed beasts are all aggregates of chakra, which means that tailed beasts will not be killed by ninjas, and even if they disappear, they will be reborn again after a few years. The 9 tails is the most powerful of the 9-tailed beasts, and the ominous chakra that erupted on Naruto several times before comes from the 9 tails. As Jinchuriki Naruto, he must learn how to control the 9 tails chakra. This is also the most risky part of this practice. He has to untie part of Naruto's seal to draw the 9 tails chakra. Once you can't control the 9 tails chakra, the consequences are beyond your imagination. Naruto, are you ready? Zillai also said seriously. Naruto nodded solemnly. Jiraiya touched the seal on Naruto's abdomen with his hands, and gradually wisps of green smoke came out from the gossip seal on Naruto's abdomen. And in the next second, a desire to destroy was born in his heart, and Naruto's whole body was shocked. In the next second, the terrifying 9 tails chakra set off a huge storm, and Naruto's beard and hair on the face lying on the ground stood upright due to the influence of the tailed beast chakra. At this time, Naruto's consciousness had entered the sealed space, and he looked blankly at the cells gradually approaching the seal. Suddenly at this moment, a scarlet evil eye appeared in the darkness, the ferocious fox head and the chilling chakra exuding from the whole body, and the huge body of nine tails was gradually revealed. Chakra's eyes in the sealed space gradually lost their focus, and Nine Tails' chakra gradually covered his body, and his eyes became as full of hostility as Nine Tails. Fine, that's it. Affected by the Nine Tails chakra, the unfair treatment he received in the past is vivid. Not only that, the picture of the death of the third Hokage has been echoing in Naruto's mind. In the outside world, Naruto's Nine Tails chakra, which was lying on the ground, became more tyrannical, and the bubbles of chakra that kept emerging gradually increased. Jiraiya's face instantly darkened. Has Naruto lost consciousness? Swish. The chakra, which was more terrifying than before, erupted instantly, and the pressure of the nine-tailed chakra was like a blade scraping against Jiraiya's exposed skin. Meanwhile, Naruto's tail has been added to a third. When Naruto's tail gradually increased to the fourth, Jiraiya's heart trembled suddenly. The skin on Naruto's surface was burned by the chakra of the nine tails, and the evil chakra gradually eroded Naruto's body. The dark red chakra eroded Naruto's body, and the chakra gradually covered Naruto's whole body, and gradually when Naruto completed the half-tailed beast, it roared like a small nine-tailed angrily. Is this the nine tails chakra? It's just too scary. This gave Jiraiya the feeling as if he was facing a small nine tails, and that huge sense of crisis enveloped Jiraiya in an instant. The half-tailed Naruto has lost consciousness, and now Naruto only has the desire to destroy everything that the tailed beast has. The beast-tailed Naruto's eyes full of hostility instantly stared at Jiraiya. Suddenly, Jiraiya also felt a cold chill coming from his back. The beast-tailed Naruto was extremely fast, only a roar was heard, and huge smoke and dust rolled up from behind Naruto, leaving a huge deep pit on the ground. So fast, Jiraiya's pupils shrank, and he barely avoided Naruto's blow, but just one blow Naruto hit the ground and a huge flame burst like a chakra cannon. The ground suddenly exploded, and the cracks gradually spread. Just four tails already possessed such terrifying strength. If all nine tails emerged, even Zillai couldn't help but gasp in the scene. His previous actions were still too reckless. He underestimated the power of Nine Tails chakra. Once careless, facing the half-tailed Naruto is likely to lose his life. Earth Dungeon. Wonkwan Swamp. A huge swamp appeared under Naruto's feet, and Naruto's body was gradually swallowed by the swamp, but how could such a small trick limit the half-tailed Naruto? The beast-tailed Naruto roared and broke free from Wonkwanma. At this time, Nine Tails in the sealed space stared at the unconscious Naruto with a sly smile. Fine, that's it. Destroy everything. Use my power to get everything you want. Once Naruto is completely transformed into Nine Tails takes this opportunity to break through this weakening seal in one fell swoop. I really want to thank Konoha's ninja for giving me this opportunity. The first thing Kyuubi did to break through the seal was to destroy Konoha, the human ninja village that he hated. At the same time, in the old place where he was training with Hinata, Lu Yun frowned and stopped suddenly. Hinata looked at Lu Yun in confusion. What's wrong with Mr. Lu Yun? This chakra. Is it Naruto? Wrong. It's Nine Tails chakra. Has the chakra passed here? It seems that it is not a simple nine-tailed chakra leak. Lu Yun took a deep look at Hinata. Hintian, wait here, I'll take care of something. He is now 100% sure that the throbbing feeling is the nine-tailed chakra, and even the one-tailed chakra he absorbed became agitated. Lu Yun suddenly remembered a part explained in the original book. Could it be that Jiraiya used the 5 elements to unseal part of the seal on Naruto? Otherwise, there is no other reason to explain the sudden outbreak of Nine Tails chakra. Jiraiya still underestimated Kyuubi. Hinata looked at the place where Lu Yun disappeared and sat down on a nearby rock, waiting for Lu Yun to come back. Boom, a huge roar exploded. Ji Lai also looked at this scene with a horrified expression. Just a wave of one hand created such a terrifying shock wave. The power of the Nine Tails is simply hopeless. Roar. The half-tailed beast like Naruto uttered a palpitating roar again. Jiraiya's face showed an unprecedented seriousness. What is he going to do next? Naruto, who turned into a tailed beast, opened his mouth wide open, and the chakra bubbles overflowing from his body floated in the air. Seeing this scene, Jilai's complexion changed dramatically, and he could clearly feel the high-density chakra in the chakra bubbles. The chakra gradually gathered and compressed, and gathered into a chakra aggregate like a tailed beast jade. Such a high density of chakra. It will kill you if you hit it. This time it's really too big. It's too late to enter the immortal mode to summon 2 immortals. Grunt. The beast-tailed Naruto swallowed the energy ball gathered by chakra into his belly, and the next second Naruto's body rapidly swelled and his lower body bulged. A sense of death crisis shrouded Jiraiya's body. Cohesion. Compression. Virtual dog cannon. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.